Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV, and welcome to this, the 7th of my comments reply video. So I hope you're all well after last month, and thank you for all the comments you've left me. This video is going to be a little bit different. Having looked at some of the feedback you've been sending to me, I have decided to arrange a timestamp system. So what's going to happen is when you get your notice comment saying that there's a comment for you, it'll have a timestamp on it. It'll not be an exact timestamp, but it'll be one that's closest to the nearest 15 minutes. Okay, that's how it's going to work. So I hope that satisfies you. I hope that sorts out all the problems you've had anyway. Now, I should point out also that I've been uploading videos to my other accounts. One is on vidme.com, dailymotion.com, and vimeo.com. Okay, so some of the things are not unique. I mean, there are some things I will upload to those accounts which I won't put on YouTube simply because there's too much on here or too much for people to deal with. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start looking through the comments you left me. So that's a really, really nice of you to do that. So let us begin with Doffler. No, only kidding, not Doffler. Orange Sherbet 71 has left a comment on my last comments reply video. Oh, there's just some comments waiting approval. Let me just I don't know how you do. Oh, I'm not sure how for some reason it's not approving these comments. Alright, so Doffler Aspie in particular has left me a lot of comments which I cannot approve for some reason. Okay, it just says likely spam. I'm clicking the approve button, nothing's happening. So I can't. Obviously, some of your comments are that. If that's the case, it won't be able to be answered. But anyway, Orange Sherbet 71 says the great thing about having a beard is that you don't have to do anything to get one. Just be alive. You have to work at being clean shaven. I can't believe it took me 30 years to work this out. Well, as you can see, Orange Sherbet 71 is gone. The beard is now gone. I won my bet, so I did shave it off. It actually, I was sort of getting used to it, but I quite, I don't know, it just didn't quite fit with me, so I did shave it off. Okay. So thanks for that comment. Next comment. Another one from Orange Sherbet on the same video. Oh yeah. Do you realise you're stuck in a replies to comment loop? You'll be typing to comments for the rest of your natural life. Well, not necessarily. I think you'll mean that the various comments reply video get more comments, so it's like an increasing, an exponential spiralling of comments. Not necessarily, at least not if Doffler doesn't have his way. But I don't have a problem with that actually. It doesn't seem to have been a problem. It seems that my comments have hit a sort of a limit, and that's and then it doesn't go any higher. It reaches a ceiling. It doesn't seem to go any higher. Anyway, I'm putting in a comment here saying thank you for your comment. It will be answered in approximately 0 to the 15-minute point of the upcoming replies video. When 15 minutes have gone, I should change it to the 15 to 30 minutes. So give you a rough idea of where your comment is going to be replied to in this video. Because these videos do tend to be very long. You know, the last one was 3 hours plus. But Grumpskull says here, Ben's flux capacitor will keep things sorted out. Oh yes, that's right. That's right. Get that. Hope that lightning strikes at the right time, Doc. Grumpskull says on the reply to comments, the last reply to comments video. I was thinking on the fly there, Ben, but I can see now that people may reply weeks after the video. Shorter and more frequent reply videos like this one may be an easy solution for your watchers to find their way about. Possibly Grumpskull, but that's I don't know. You see, because I don't want to have like a comments reply video between every other video. Do you know what I mean? At the same time, with this timestamp, if this timestamp thing works, then the problem will solve itself. See what you think, anyway. Right, that's right. And Grumpskull has put on the reply to comment 6. There's a link. The Angry Ufologist. Oh my goodness, what's that about? Stephen Greer's a fraud. The Angry Ufologist. I know quite a few angry ufologists. Positive proof that Dr. Stephen Greer is a fraud, liar, and psychopath. Oh my goodness. Maybe I don't know if that's fair. I mean, like I said, there's a long article here, but based on its title with three different adjectives to describe someone in a derogatory manner. I mean, these things tend to be either rational or they're all rhetoric. Right, Grumskull says the Muslim guys kicked off the Delta plane. Here we go. Oh, this is what I was asking about. I was asking about some people who got kicked off the Delta plane, Delta Airlines, and I wasn't quite sure what happened. But yeah, I can't put in a notice because you're for some reason, Grumskull, your comment has gone to the spam folder, and YouTube are not allowing me to clear it for publication. Maybe because when you reach a certain amount of spam, it doesn't let you do that anymore. All right, so. That's not letting me do that, so I can't reply to your comment. But there's a YouTube video here which talks about Delta Airlines, Adam Sally exposed, and here's a 10-minute video. This guy's been pulling a fake prank for years. So is it all a big con, Grubskull? Is that what you're saying? It's nothing but a con, maybe. Anyway, Doffler says on reply to comment 6. Well done, Ben, for another great response video. Thanks, It's Doffler Aspie, he calls himself now. And yes, thanks for your reply, Doffler. I mean, I'm sure it's the first of many that you're going to reply to. I have no doubt. And some of your comments, like I said, have gone into the spam folder for some reason on that video. And on the same video, Doffler Aspie says, if you want to break up my comments up, then that's what I'll do. Nobody had the the right to tell me what I can and can't do. No, I don't, Doffler. I'm absolutely fine with you commenting the way you already do. Okay, that's no problem. It's someone else who tried to admonish you for posting too many short comments. Okay, I actually told him or her leave him alone, basically. Same comment. I haven't seen the film Arrival, but that changes this year, Ben, mate. I think this is one of the spam folder ones. Yeah, no, it's not. It's one there. Cool. I hope you enjoy the film Arrival, Doffler. It's very good, I think. Doffler also says, can I suggest you only comment on those comments that are most useful and are constructive? It's not negative to filter out some, but not all. Perhaps, Doffler, yeah, I'm going to... It's a bit tricky. I'll see if I see any that I know, I'll just skip them over. But maybe you're right, anyway. Same video, Doffler. Trump has been maligned by false dinosaur media rhetoric. Not even Trump's speech pleased the mainstream media. They can't stop insinuating he's like Hitler and an anti-Semitic. They just can't stop. Well, yeah, I mean, they just can't stop that false fake media playing against him. And that's right. I mean, if you looked at his most recent press conference, it's very interesting because someone actually said, Mr. President, don't you think you're harming the First Amendment by reducing people's confidence in the media, in the press, and dismissing everything you don't like as fake news? But that's what they do. That's what the mainstream media do. That's what they've been going on and on about. All right. Doffler also says, MGTOWs in general aren't female haters. They want to educate men on the dangers of marriage. Some may be women haters, but not all of them, Ben. Okay, I mean, I think we sorted that out, Doffler. I mean, I'm not. We're just saying that Doffler thought I might become a MGTOW, and I'm not a MGTOW. But I'm not saying all MGTOWs are misogynist. Some of them are, though, and there may be many reasons why a man decides to become a MGTOW. It's basically, as far as marriage goes, yeah. I mean, I see a problem. I mean, the system has been set up probably because feminism is so dominant in our world. Has been set up to make it very, very hard on men. Marriage is very, very difficult on men when it goes wrong. Not so much in my country, in America with the alimony laws. It's basically, you basically forfeit all your goods to the woman you're married to, or everything you own, possibly, to the woman you're married to. And then, the alimony laws in the States need to change. They need to be reformed. Really, really do. And so I do take your point. MGTOW, I mean, MGTOW it is. It's men going their own way. It's a movement of men who decided to be single, and not celibate, according to Doffler. It's not celibate. Although I know some MGTOWs who are celibate. Some people try to claim that Nikola Tesla was a MGTOW, but he's not. He was not a MGTOW. It's true. He never had anything to do with women, but it wasn't because he was a MGTOW. It was because basically, he couldn't. The thing about Tesla was he suffered from this obsessive compulsive disorder, and if he shook someone's hand, he couldn't bear to touch people. If he shook somebody's hand, he'd go and he'd have to wash it thoroughly. He was so terrified of catching some kind of disease from them. If he was sitting next to someone, he'd have to move away. He couldn't even sit too close to people. And of course, in that situation, anyone with that kind of problem, sex is just impossible. And so that's the reason he He never had. I think he remained a virgin his whole life, but he was not a MGTOW. A MGTOW is someone who makes a positive decision to do that. Nikola Tesla had this obsessive compulsive disorder. But okay, I take your point about MGTOWs, Doffler. And I mean, I know some. I can actually understand. I can sympathise with why a man might want to become a MGTOW, especially if they've been screwed over in the courts by their ex-wife, or they've been mistreated by a woman because this woman's had her brainwashed by feminism, which says basically, you know, it's open season on all white heterosexual men anyway. So I understand why some white heterosexual men might want to become a MGTOW. Doffler said, wealthy people, I think this is another spam folder one, tend not to have children as much as poorer women do. The more wealthy a country becomes, the less children are born. That's true, Doffler. I mean, we see this. I mean, in the third world, you know, the women pour them out. And it's got a lot to do with infant mortality. Because the sad fact is, if you live in very, very great poverty, half your children are unlikely to reach adulthood because they'll be killed by some kind of malnutrition, disease, things like that. And some people often say that it's actually a cause-effect relationship here, which is both ways. So if women actually get control of their reproductive systems through contraception, then that allows them to be educated and things like that, and that automatically boosts the living standards of the entire society. There's a lot to be said for that, actually, which is good. I mean, we're seeing this in many of the poorer countries now. They're becoming better off as a result. So yes, that's an interesting little factoid or factlet from Doffler. Thank you, Doffler. Right, here we go. This is on reply. All these are on the last reply to comments video. Doffler Aspie, as he calls himself now, or she. I think it's a he, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doffler, but I'm saying you're male. I'm guessing you're male from the style of speech. The Muslim men were talking Arabic to their family and other passengers getting scared or triggered. They demanded a safe space. Such snowflakes. Are you talking about that Delta Airlines thing? Is that the thing you meant? Oh, right. Okay, so you did send me a source which I'm going to check out later about that. Doffler again on reply to comment 6. When people insult you, they are just like the protesters. Ben, you cannot debate with those who refuse to debate and prove what they state. I know. All you can do is hurl abuse back at them. I mean, with someone, this is what Molyneux talks about. He talks about his guide to sophistry and his guide to philosophy and things like that. And he talks about the guide to logic is very, very interesting, which Molyneux does. And he talks about how basically you can't debate with someone who doesn't respect the rules. It's like trying to play football with someone who picks the ball up and runs with it and bash it, and it has a baseball bat to bash the goalkeeper over the head. You know, of course, that person is going to score more goals. If someone cheats like that, they're going to, and there's no referee to actually stop them. They're the one they're going to get 20 goals. They're going to get the ball 20 times in your net, and you get one in theirs. But it's some people don't care. That's the problem. Some people don't care. They don't care if they're not obeying the rules of logic, which is sad. We're almost at the end of the 15-minute mark. Right, so during the war, women were used as, here we go. This is used as useful idiots, putting feathers on men who refused to fight. That's right. One of the things they used to do to the men was they used to get women, especially very pretty women, to give out white feathers to the men who wouldn't fight in that slaughter. And for a young guy, you know, being seen as attractive to women is very important, or for any man actually, even a less young guy. So this is a form of mental torture, I would say, but it worked. You see, it worked. This is why it was a way of manipulating them, the men into fighting. Of course, after 18 million dead and wounded and things like that, I mean, people saw it slightly differently. That war did change the world, but it was pretty awful, yeah. Doffler says, please don't give the trolls a platform. They fight you but get stronger. Oh yeah, but I get stronger too, Doffler. I'm a big ugly ex-hospital porter. I'm as strong as they come. Same video, Doffler. Please create a video on the 0 point energy and how it frees us all. I have done, Doffler. I've created several. I particularly recommend Energy Politics and UFOs 2015. You'll find it on my list of videos. Okay. Reply to comment 6 again. Doffler, have you considered accepting Bitcoin, Ben? Well, yes, I have. And maybe I'll say that more about it in a future video, but I actually have done that very thing. Well, it's not Bitcoin. It's a different cryptocurrency. But I'm doing very well with it. And it's something I'll talk more about in a future video. But it's something I very much recommend. I very much recommend looking into cryptocurrencies. All right, we have listen. Right, a great skeptic debate, and it's not Doffler speaking this time. We're now past the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to change the notice. Right, so it's now between 15 and 30. Okay, so this is Fu Man Boobs. No, here we are, Fu Man Boobs. Yes. Oh, we've got a whole conversation here between Fu Man Boobs and Royd Freedom. Royd Freedom is actually Colin, who's in the great. This is in the Great Skeptic Debate. And Colin and Fu Man Boobs go. I love how people can decide subject. No, that's what is skep or is not. We simply must ask for evidence. Evidence extraordinary claimed. Ricky, Moses, and Ross. Well, we've Fu Man Boobs is like saying here. He replies to him. Ben seems to think a skeptic is someone who believes the opposite of some supernatural claim, when in fact it's just a stance asking for good evidence to be presented. Well, I don't actually. I mean, I know you and Fu Man Boobs have this discussion here, and you seem to. Fu Man Boobs says, "Hi Ben, I don't think you have to reply to all comments. Just pick and choose a few that are important. No one can fault you for the amount of time and effort you put into your channel. Thanks, Fu Man. And I will try to see. I'll try maybe to have some kind of filter like that. But I mean, I think Colin. I think at some point I do actually describe what I think a skeptic is, and that I don't agree that it's someone who's just looking for evidence. Now, in some cases it might be. I mean, you say, if I were to offer Ben £10,000, if he sends me £2,000 to invest, I'm reasonably sure he wouldn't send me the £2,000. Now, it's perfectly possible. You see, you're quite right about some things. I mean, even James Randi has done some good things, exposing Peter Popoff. But, you know, I mean, Colin and I do discuss this in the video, and certainly I address it in more detail in my video, Skeptics. Who are they? Why are they wrong? And why does it matter? If you can get to High Wycombe actually if you get yourself to High Wycombe by Wednesday night, I'm actually doing a live performance. It's at the Bricklayers Arms in Downley, High Wycombe, starting 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 22nd of February. Okay, so do get to that if you can. On reply to comment 6, Doffler says, if we came from the apes, why didn't they all evolve into humans? It's very odd, isn't it? Well, no, Doffler, it's not. So this is people say, well, if fish turn into land animals, why are they still fish? It's only some of them that actually did that. There's a lot of chance involved in evolution, and the same with the apes. I mean, the thing is, apes and fish have changed over the years. I mean, the apes that live in the world today are not the same apes that lived millions of years ago when we were in the trees. In fact, both humans and chimps evolved from Ardipithecus 5 million years ago, which was an upright, ground-dwelling ape. But the Ardipithecus, some of them went back to the trees and became chimps, and some stayed on the ground and became humans. I don't often say this, honestly, Doffler. Okay, you won't often hear me say this, but I recommend you watch Richard Dawkins, because this is something. See, Richard Dawkins talks an awful lot of bullshit, but this is one subject he's very, very good at, and he's he talks about it and describes it in a very comprehensive manner. Doffler, on reply to comment 6, a lot of our high tech comes from UFO crash sites and then is covered up by them. That's true. I've talked about that. It's in my book as well, Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure, available at all good bookshops now. David Icke says Dawkins is called Dogma Dawkins. Well, he is, as I said. I mean, he's quite good on biology, but that's about all he knows. Doffler says Colin causes health issues, stress. Do you mean Colin the skeptic? Colin Snuggs? I don't know. I mean, I don't find it particularly stressful. I mean, maybe I know some of the rest of you did, and some of you couldn't stand him. But I didn't have a problem with him. Reply to comment 6, Doffler. When we move to 12 strands, will it hurt? What is the process, Ben? You talk about the 12 strands of DNA, as in Sandra DeRoy's film, Awakening of 12 Strands. I don't know, Doffler. I hope it's not too painful. Doffler. Reply to comment 6. Why do we have a death culture? Why don't people want to have aging reversed? Not only live as long as you choose, but to have their youth intact. Well, I don't know, a death culture. Well, I think a lot of people would say I'd like to live longer and keep my youth and not age. I mean, a lot of people would like that. I mean, it's something I like. You know, I don't feel myself aging actually, and I don't think I look particularly old. But of course, that that can't last forever, and sooner or later I'm going to start getting bad hips and things like that, and you know, the A, B and C, we all do. But I mean, you can, by living a healthy lifestyle, you can make the most of your life you have, and you're not going to go on forever. You're going to die one day, but then you go to the spirit world or whatever. I don't think you disappear when you die, as I've explained on previous videos. And there goes my MBA. Seagra on Collateral Beauty film review. I'm still on the I'm still on the I think, all right. Oh, this is a reply to Edwardian Lady who talks about most modern films. Edwardian Lady was saying that most modern films have a black male lead and a white female lead, and it's cultural Marxism. I mean, this does actually happen, and I was very distressed to find out that J.J. Abrams in the Star Wars Force Awakens selected the actor to play the male lead because he was black. And I think I talked about this actually in the film, the Collateral Beauty film review, because that actually does irk me. Because if you're saying, well, I'm going to select this person because they're black, that means you have to turn someone else down because they're white. And to me, that's just as bad as saying we're going to turn someone down because they're black. We have to have a white person doing this. They're two exactly the same. And because you have this balkanisation of ethics, as Stefan Molyneux calls it, the left quite happily accepts that contradiction. And I think that's very, very wrong. John Boyega, his name is, the actor who played, I think it's Finn, in Star Wars 7, The Force Awakens. And he did a good job. I must admit he did a good job. And I did enjoy that film, but I mean, I don't like to think that he got his job, he got the job because he was black. I think that's wrong. And if I was in his place, I would feel uncomfortable myself with that. That being said, you see, I look back at that film now. I enjoyed it when I watched it, but I think I'd enjoy it less if I watched it again, just with that knowledge, which is a shame. It's kind of spoiled that film for me. And I was annoyed with Will Smith, who was in the Collateral Beauty movie, because he was the one who boycotted the Oscars because there were no black people in it. And as I said, that to me was very childish, and it was potentially destructive, because you can watch the film, my Collateral Beauty film review, for the details of that. Doffler says in reply to comment 6, the mainstream media reports negative information, and then this stirs people not to riot and attack others who don't think the way they do. That's true. That's exactly what they do. And the riots we've seen, especially after the Trump inauguration and things like that, are, I think, a direct product of things like that very thing. Which is a shame. It's very sad. Doffler says, some say UFOs are space Nazis from Antarctica. Well, if you watch my video on Jack of the Antarctic, then yeah, I mean, Jack of the Antarctic, he died. But I mean, if you believe what people like Joseph Farrell are talking about, Igor Witkowski talking about what the Nazis were doing in terms of anti-gravity research, it's possible that they did have some kind of technology which is equivalent of the aliens. Doffler, trolls are tossers. Absolutely. Doffler, reply to comment 6. Alfred Lambert Webber is worth interviewing, Ben. Alfred Webber. Yeah, I like him actually. I've been listening to some of the stuff he does. I think his attitude to Dr. Judy Wood is wrong, but some of the other things he talks about is very, very interesting, and good on him. I mean, he's also turned against Kevin Annett. He's joined that anti-Kevin Annett cult. But I mean, I don't turn against someone just because I disagree with them on a couple of things. Why do the tossers sound like the dinosaur media? Because they are. I like the term dinosaur media. I think I know you were referring to, like, the legacy media, as some people are calling it now, which is the mainstream media. Dinosaur media. Nice one. It's because that's all they watch, I think, and that's all they know. That's why they sound like the dinosaur media. Doffler says, I suggest you listen to this video, please. These are all on the reply to comment 6. Now, what is this? Right, this is Alfred Webber saying, will Trump disclose beneficial quantum technologies and the ET presence unlike Obama? Right, I'll bookmark that. Thank you very much, Doffler. Doffler says, hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Thank you, Doffler. Doffler says on reply to comment 6, why did Rosie O'Donnell wish wished that there be martial law to protest and stop Donald Trump from being president of the United States of America. That seems wrong and conspiratorial, doesn't it, Ben? Yes, it does. The reason she does this, she said this, is what you're getting an awful lot from the left nowadays. These are the same people who say we should have a second referendum on the EU, basically because the British were given a choice and they made the wrong choice. Same with Trump. The Americans were given the choice of their president because it's a free country. You can choose whichever president you like, as long as you choose Hillary Clinton. They're absolutely fine with that. As long as you choose her, you can choose anyone you like. Yeah. That's what they do. When you don't, then they favour tyranny. They want to overturn. They want to do things like they petition the Electoral College not to vote for Trump. They say, well, Hillary won the popular vote. Well, I'm not sure she did, but the popular vote means nothing under the American system anyway, unless the Electoral Colleges are tied and the Senate is tied, I think. So it means nothing. And let's face it, if Hillary had won by the Electoral College and Trump had won by the popular vote, you wouldn't hear a peep out of these people. They just say, oh, well, that's the system we've got now, so you just have to like it and lump it. It's so one-sided. As I said, it's this balkanisation of ethics. Doffler, Colin is controversial. That's Colin. I think you mean Colin the skeptic. Well, he is, yeah. But he was a good sport doing that interview. I enjoyed doing those programmes with him. Doffler says, when the mainstream media criticise others for conspiracy theories based, remember what they say when they create conspiracy theories. Excuse me. Against Donald Trump. Do you find this fascinating, Ben? Yes. I find it fascinating and frustrating. Again, we have this double standard. Trump is a Russian agent, so that's a conspiracy theory. But it's an acceptable conspiracy theory because it gives out the right message. Doffler says, Trump protesters are unemployed irks. Idle hands do the devil's work, judging by all the protesters and the women marching. Well, they did seem rather, I don't know. There was those women dressed up in strange pink costumes, which I took a look at them and I thought something I don't normally ever say, and that is they need to see a psychologist. So a strange bunch, yeah. Of course, totally committed to a lack of democracy in the world. Doffler, Ben, are you concerned about the rise of the special snowflake? Yes, that's the SJW, Ramona, anti-Trump supporter. Yeah, I mean, these people are... I think the left has really shown itself just to be a tool of the New World Order. It's funny because, I mean, I grew up in the 80s under Thatcher, and left-wing ideas had a kind of veneer of being anti-authoritarian. This is why I became a trade unionist when I started out in portering. I was sympathetic to Marxism. But it didn't take me long to see through it. That the left can be used as a tool to introduce greater authoritarianism, globalism, every bit as much as the right. So that both wings of conventional politics can be exploited in that way. Doffler says, Donald Trump has selected many of his enemies, so he's keeping them close. Well, I hope so, because I mean, as I was saying in the Donald Trump videos I made, John Bolton, Mitt Romney, what's he doing with these people? Is it a case of keep your friends close but your enemies closer? I don't know. I hope it may be a trick of his. I don't know. Doffler says, Ben, if you don't like the twats, just block the fuckers. I have blocked a couple of people actually who've been particularly rude. And so that's, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't put up with that, and I'm not going to. Doffler says Darmok is on Star Trek. Who's Darmok? Oh, is this something that came up in that video? Okay, thanks for the information. The inner bookshop closes. Right, it's a different timestamp now. So let me just go to the timestamp box. Thank you for comment. It will be answered approximately between the 30 to 45 minute point of the upcoming comments reply video. Okay. This is the inner bookshop closes. I made a video about the inner bookshop. It's very sad that it closed. This was a sort of alternative bookshop in Oxford. Here we go. Yes, I love this shop. This is Keir Taylor. I love this shop. I went there as an Oxford Uni student, and afterwards it will be missed. It was one of a kind, and it certainly was, and I miss it too. And it's now a it's what is it now? It's kind of it's like an organic food shop, but it has a little book section in it, so that's nice. You can still buy it. It's still a bookshop of sorts. reply to comment 6. Is that it? Asks 69 Phuket. Is what it? Doffler says, oh right, oh, this is a conversation between Doffler and 69 Phuket. Yeah, okay. This is Doffler reply. This is 69 Phuket and Doffler having a conversation. Yes, okay, no worries. Cool. I won't interfere in other people's conversations, alright, because you two can talk to each other. Alright, 69 Phuket, is this the same conversation? Let's have a look. I think it is, yeah. Oh no, this is a different conversation. Oh, actually, yeah. 69 Phuket says, 3 hours just to see if my ego got a mention. I think doing it on 2 times speed will condense Ben into Mickey Mouse, but render it down to an hour and a bit. Trick is to get the comments in first, like you did. That takes being first to a new level. I don't like it. Sheesh. Right, well, Doffler. Sorry, Phuket. I'm actually going to put in your little notice here with your timestamp. So it says, thank you for your comment. It will be answered approximately between the 30 and 45 minute point in the upcoming comments reply video. There you are. Okay. Phuket says on reply to comment 6. Oh, it's not. This is a combination between orange sherbet and Phuket. Okay, so that's cool. I'll let you get on with it. Right, here we go. Slaxer. Right, it says on reply to comment 6. He says, this is when I was talking about, I have seen UFOs camping in Kent in 2008. What I saw was beyond belief. That's it. And Slaxer says, yep, I haven't got a clue just what I saw that night. But it was not only spectacular, but balletic. Balletic, does that mean kind of like ballet? But thanks for your comment anyway, Slaxer. Thanks for letting us know about that. And UFOs are indeed more common than you might think. Peter Gibson says on mysterious gravestones in Oxford. Ben, are you still doing videos? I just put yes. I won't bother. Here we go. Well, yeah, I am, Peter. I mean, this is my mysterious gravestones in Oxford video was one I put up in May 2011, and I've done loads since then. I mean, check out my channel. Reply to comment 6, Phuket. Oh, right, this is conversation with Doffler. Pauline Phillips says on reply to comment 6. I might not. Thank you, Ben, for taking the trouble to reply to your comments. There aren't many that would, and many that wouldn't allow their comments on the videos in order to avoid negative ones. I'm sorry that some idiots feel they have to insult you for no reason. You must feel tempted to disallow comments. No one would blame you, I'm sure. Anyway, please don't let them get to you. Not easy, I know. Thank you for your work. You come across as a kind, pleasant, intelligent person, and I don't understand why some people feel the need to be so spiteful. Probably just inadequate failures who feel better after posting hateful comments. How very sad. So I'll just put here, thanks very much, Pauline. I'll just actually write her. That's very kind of her to do that. A little smiley face, because that's a very sweet thing for her to say. I think maybe it is. Maybe it's they feel like they have to, if they see anyone they feel is not on their level, who's not down in the gutter with them, they have to drag everyone down with them. I think that's the idea. Right, and the aforementioned Energy, Politics and UFOs 2015, which I recommended to Doffler. Here we go. Morgan, Warburg and Rockefeller were all just agents of the Rothschilds. Well, that's interesting. This is Vitomir Milosevic. Well, thanks for that comment. That's an interesting thing. I think that maybe comes up in the video. It was a long time since I did that video, so I'm not sure. Phuket and Doffler's conversation. Bigfoot in Britain. Duty. Oh, I've had a lot of rude comments on this one. Yeah, I've had a lot of. Okay. Duty James says Stevens. What a douche. Yeah, this is Dave Stevens who said, Kevin Woolner, he's face it all, mate. Fuck off, and you'll do better in noddy films. You are a prick. This is this toss. Yeah, these people are sticking up for me, so I appreciate that. This is this Kevin Woolner I talked about in a previous video. What a load of crap and what a loony, meaning me. Maybe he's one of the ones I should block, as saying. Arak Seapub, hello. What do you want from me now, Arak? Oh, right. Yes, I did. Well, as it just happened, you bring up the topic. I'm sure you need the yellow t-shirt and baseball cap. Summer will be here after we get closer to the sun, so I really need to beef up my warm weather accessories. Thanks for asking, Ben. You are a YouTube star. Thanks, Arak Seapom. Roaring Water Bay, in other words. Okay. RWB. He's called Arak Seapom. His name's Roaring Water. His name's Roaring Water Bay, as he previously was known. And Arak Seapom, same user, says on the film Collateral Beauty. There we go. Right. While a rag is a rag, in the long run, I think we, the public, are better off with as many sources of news as possible. Now, whether they have their facts right is another question. It's sort of like business. The more competitors you have, the more prices are driven down. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Great skeptic debate. This is a lot of conversation. Oh, this is a one on its own. And now we're going to flush out all the votes. What? If you don't believe that an afterlife does not exist, that voting matters, you are not an atheist. The important thing is to emphasise living life here and now, and no longer hate everyone by voting the same stupidity over and over. Well, that sounds pretty wise to me. Thank you very much. And Jason, this is on. Oh, this is interesting. This is Jason Govine. Oh, it's thank you for uploading the lectures on Helen Duncan. All right, thank you for uploading these lectures on Helen Duncan from Jason Govine. I'll say you're welcome. This person likes my Helen Duncan videos, and this is my latest Helen Duncan video, which is based on a lecture I did at the ASAP Seriously Suspicious conference back last month, or sorry, late last year. Jason Gavinia says, Helen Duncan, wartime psychic jailed. And this is, he says, right, I've got quite a lot on here. Have you heard of the skull experiment? Yes, I have. I've heard of, it's very interesting, the skull experiment. And Gary Williams says, the skull experiment was studied by the SPR, found to be amazing and totally without any fraud. Now, have you heard about Leslie Flint? I knew him. And Jason says, yes, I have, only on YouTube. Gary, that's not surprising, Gary. I lived in Spain, so I'm not in contact with the medium. I would settle for a mental medium, but I can't find a real one of those, except Gordon Smith, and he no longer does private sittings. Maybe you can help me find one. This is an interesting conversation, so thanks for commenting, guys. Yeah, I mean, the skull experiment was incredible. I've not heard of Leslie Smith, but that's an interesting. I will look he or her up. I'm not sure if it's a man or woman. GS Evolved. Oh, GS Evolved. He's on the comments box on HPANWO Radio as well. He or she. Ben, I like the format of the videos. I typically don't comment, so it's interesting to see which ones you respond to, as well as your extra input. Love the channel. The truth is out there. I'm glad you think so. I certainly hope so. Right, yeah. This is just continuing conversation between there we are. Knowing das ein. Is that pronounced, spelt rightly? Yeah. Is it really less time consuming to do a 3-hour video than to reply in text? Yes, it is. Let's put yes, it is. Is it really? Because it is less time consuming than to reply with text. Besides, I quite like doing these videos, actually. I quite enjoy doing these videos for their sake. So let's go through that. Open letter to Donald Trump. Someone called who has then deleted their comment, or it's in the spam folder. Let's have a look. And I can't approve it, but it's this thing here. This. It's allegedly Dave. Oh, this is allegedly Dave. Oh, I've met allegedly Dave. He's a guy who, I think he drunk his own urine for a while. I wasn't willing to carry on with him on that, but he's built a Bedini machine. Oh right, allegedly Dave. Well, it's good to hear from him. It's more. Let's have a look. Clausum, hello Clausum. On last reply to comments video. Great video, Ben. I was just wondering if you would address the Larry Warren situation. I don't know what to believe. Okay. Thanks, Clausum. Will over. We'll cover right. He's talking about the situation with Larry Warren, which is a lot of controversy about that at the moment. I'm going to cover that in detail when it's all over, basically. Which it's not going to be long now, but it's a long and it's a very, very painful story. Gary Williams again. Okay. This is just a conversation between. Oh right, UFOs. A reply to Stefan Molyneux. Oh, I did a video replying to Stefan Molyneux because he was bloody. This is from Lord Anu. You're welcome. Someone who just said, "I really like the video. Thanks. I'm loving it. Thank you." Because basically, Stefan Molyneux did like one of his call-in shows, and someone came in who believed in UFOs, and Molyneux sort of like he made a lot of mistakes, I think, in his dismissal of the UFO subject. So I decided to do an entire video about that. Daniel the Spaniel, Daniel Bostock. Hey Dan. I can't watch this tonight. I so disagree with Stefan on this issue. I'll just say lol. Me too. Cheers, Dan. I can't wait to watch this tonight, he says. I can't wait to watch this tonight. I'm so disagreed with Stefan on the issue. Yeah, I mean, this is... that is true, yeah. Molyneux, he talks a lot of sense about some things. Other times he talks a load of rubbish about others. Orange Sherbet says... okay. I think the expression you're looking for, Ben, is he's being a cock. Meaning Molyneux over the UFO issue. Yes, he is. He is being a cock over the UFO issue. But I think he's just made a mistake, and I think he was being kind of honest about it, as honest, if you like. And Orange Sherbet 71 also says on the same video, even if you submerged him in the vast body of evidence that exists, sat him down with Dolan, he would still argue that there's a circle is a square. He maybe has some amazing philosophy, but his attitude, his thought on the subject is so old-fashioned. Skeptics are dangerous people. I don't know. I mean, I hope that's not the case, Orange Sherbet. I sometimes think, if you know, Molyneux respects the rules of logic, and you sit him opposite Richard Dolan, and he would be unable to back out of it. And I hope he would stick by his principles and just accept that it's true. And Orange Sherbet also says, imagine if everyone in the world was a skeptic. We'd still be living in the Dark Ages. God, we would, wouldn't we? Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order, says Doffler on UFOs, or reply to Stefan Molyneux. Doffler says, no need to do one, lol. We do to leave us. We don't want you to leave us, or do want you to. We don't want you to leave us. Alright, I don't get that. Sorry, I don't understand that. And Doffler says, Victor reminds me of the Anteater cartoon character. This is the person that Molyneux was talking to in his show. Doffler says, interesting video, nice entry. Now, there's some... I think I'm still on the 30 to... I'm almost at the end of this particular time. I have to change the notice in a minute. There we go. I'll change the notice in a sec. Doffler says, Ben, don't let Stefan grind your gears. He doesn't. Although I tell you, I don't think I'd ever call into his show, because he's just... I don't know, he's very, very awkward with some people. I mean, he had this guy called Fritz on his show the other night, and he was just like talking over him and trying to tie him up in verbal knots, and it was just... Fritz was like this German guy who couldn't speak very good English, and I thought, there's something wrong here. I mean, it's you have to watch it to see what I mean. It just didn't quite... I didn't quite like that. I thought it was wrong. Okay, what's that? Something else. Doffler. Ben dressed up like Buddha, floating down, sitting on a fluffy cloud. That's an amusing thought. I think that's talking about that's on the UFO video too. Reply to comment 6. Chili84943 says, where can I buy the book? Right, I'll send you a link, Chili. I don't often do this, but I'm going to. Yes, I am. Right, I'll send you a link. Here we go. This is how you buy a copy of my book. I'll just put a little smiley face here, first of all, and then I'll put a link into the description button. There we are. That's how you buy my book. There's a link to the page I have up dealing with it. So, there you go. Right. Doffler, on UFOs, reply to Stefan Molyneux. Just because the same thing can be proved either way doesn't mean it is real or not real. It's just unproven. Well, that's an important point. That's what the skeptics don't realise. They say things like extraordinary claims need extraordinary explanations. No, extraordinary is not a word with which you can the word extraordinary when it comes to describe a claim is simply rhetoric. It's simply saying, I find this wow extraordinary. No, does the evidence match the claim? That's all that matters. That's all you think. Is the amount of evidence necessary to explain the claim there? So forget the word extraordinary. So, and I see your point, Doffler. Yeah, Doffler also says on the same video, speculation is often used to make a point. Hang on, I've got to. Because I cut and pasted, because I cut and pasted the link to the book for that person, I've got to recut and paste my notice thing. Here we go. Speculation is often used to make a point of proof. It's still just speculation until we know for sure. Being open-minded and maybe or maybe not. Let's wait and see. Well, that's wisdom, you see. That to me is real logic. Doffler says, advanced technology is brought down to us by primitive Earth-based technology. Well, it's possible. I mean, you're talking about the downing, the attacks on UFOs and maybe shooting down UFOs. You could sink a modern warship with an 18th century naval cannon if you shot it in the right place. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, in most of the military encounters in which humans and UFOs slog it out, the UFOs almost always come better off. Carl Munford says on UFOs, reply to Stefan Molyneux. It's quite a long comment. Oh, it's Carl and his. Yes, it's Carl talking about with his loads of Bible quotes again. I thought Carl Munford. I've heard that name before. So much of what Stefan states, hold fast if you reject the notion, as you do some do in the UFO field. They were not being visited by entities from higher dimensions, but this notion is entertained by regarding being reported. And then there's a large number of Bible quotes here, which are interesting. Well, I mean, Carl, I don't go along with your biblical view of things, but however, the book of Ezekiel is very interesting because of the book of Ezekiel in the Bible, because some say it's the world's first UFO report, and it might well be. It does sort of come across that way. Doffler, there are human aliens that live in our universe and they think as we can. Their culture may be different, but they are found to be similar. So, well, some of the aliens are actually, they look very human, there's no doubt about it. Doffler says, maybe aliens are supporting humankind, maybe they aren't, that's down to speculation at this time until we find out more. Could be. Stefan is so hilarious in nature. Well, I suppose he is. These are all Doffler talking now. Ben's had a late night, lol. Can't assume what he might have been doing, let's not speculate, but anyway, lol. Good idea, don't speculate. Tino, all right, here we go. This is Tino on reply to Skep. This is Tino, who's a good friend of mine on Facebook. I've met him actually. I've met Tino. There's no getting through to the pig-headed skeptics like this fella. They always raise the bar against every reasonable evidential circumstance to show whom their stuffy, stiff science view around, and if not, into the worldview. That's a bit hard on Stefan, I think, but it's true when it comes to skeptics generally. Yes, very absolutely. I think Stefan was making an effort here, but he got an awful lot wrong. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really kind of what happened. Tino also says the fact he keeps saying space aliens and anthropomorphizing everything set alarm bells ringing that this fella is a clueless cunt right from the start. Well, yeah, he is clueless. He is clueless about UFOs, actually, Stefan. He knows nothing about the subject. It's very obvious. And yes, space aliens is a derogatory term. Anthropomorphizing, as I say myself, he tends to sort of think, well, why did the UFOs not go visit the shopping mall? You know, it's I don't really. That's why I don't believe in them. You see, things like that. He says. Carl Munford again. Oh God, why doesn't God heal every disease and stop wars? Okay, and why not, Carl? Tell me. Oh, this is. I think this is. For some reason, Carl's. Oh no, it's not in the spam folder. Oh right. Oh, Alex Thorpe has put this. For some reason, this has gone to the spam folder. Alex Thorpe says, "Hi Ben. After watching this film about UFOs, especially the shocking ending, I have no doubt they are totally real. Maybe Stefan should take a look at the 0 Point, the story of Mark McCandlish, and the free energy Fluxliner spacecraft." Right. Well, thanks very much, Alex. I can't reply to your comment. I'm sorry because it's in the spam folder and I can't get it out. So I'm very, very sorry. But that's on a channel which I actually do subscribe to. Carl Munford has deleted his biblical comment. Julian Carver says, great upload, Ben. Here we go, yeah. Great job on your analysis of Stefan's video. Yes, Stefan appears a little closed-minded here, probably worried about his online profile, lol. Stefan needs to check out Richard D. Hall's work into UFOs and animal-human mutilations, amongst many other great researchers in the field. Absolutely, Julian, that's very true. Lee Cook says, if you're a skeptic and you don't want... Hang on. If you're a skeptic and you don't want to take on the beast that is ufology, then you better come prepared. By that logic, Stefan Molyneux came armed with a toothpick and a jam jar lid. Yes, he did. He was really... Stefan was completely out of his depth, and he didn't even know it. And Victor, I think, Victor is the person he was interviewing, did a good job, but... anyway, he also says, Lee Cook says, before I forget the subs... what did you think of that Chilean UFO footage? I like to think I have a good eye and explain a lot of UFO footage. But the Chilean UFO footage was a real head-scratcher in my humble opinion. If it wasn't for the plume of hot gas or exhaust, it would be considered fairly mundane. Also, did you notice it had some sort of field around it that the infrared was picking up? Yeah. That was very odd, that was. This, if I might have talked about it in this video, I can't remember. But it was Chilean Navy helicopter footage showing some craft, and it leaves behind us on a chemtrail kind of thing. It happened in 2014. It's just been declassified. It's very, very strange indeed. And Reeferman fought, and yeah, I believe it was eyeballed before they filmed it using IR. That's right. It can be seen on visible light, but it shows up very much on infrared, which means it's very hot. Reeferman says, that was a very interesting video. It was invisible in our visual light spectrum, and the defense of Stefan about the device malfunctioning obviously isn't true in my age. That's true. That's very true, Reeferman. But it was visible in the light spectrum, as Lee says, but it was more clearer in infrared. Wow, your little chuckle when you mentioned the flat Earth. This is from Jeff Hindley on UFOs, Stefan Molyneux. On which you are a skeptic. Perhaps if you look at it a little more, you could overcome your programming and cognitive dissonance. Well, actually, and Reeferman comments on here too, I can prove and demonstrate the curvature on any flat road that's a mile long. Well, yeah, I mean, this is Jeff Hindley. I think, did you contact me on Facebook about this? All right, your name sounds familiar. Well, I'm afraid I do chuckle when I mention the flat Earth, because I'm afraid it is something very chuckleable. It's a pretty risible idea, and I'm not saying that through cognitive dissonance and programming. I've done an entire radio show about the flat Earth, which I debate Mark Sargent, who's one of the leading flatheads in the world. He came onto my radio show, so I have given this. I think I've given this issue a good hearing. Okay, so that's my position on it. And if you're a person I think you are, we have discussed this on Facebook. Gary Robinson says, if there's one thing I learned from this video, Ben, it's that I'm done with listening to skeptics. I've always been open to checking them out, which is something that I know you also advise people to do in order to avoid a one-sided view of these issues. That being said, skeptics seem to deliver the same arguments over and over again as if they are reading from a script, and this guy is no exception. I also can't help thinking that their motivation is most likely the need to feel superior against other people, and they know that the skeptic route is a good outlet for addressing these needs because it allows them to pick on subjects that are vulnerable, such as UFOs or paranormal. Anyway, great video as always. Keep up the good work, mate. Well, thanks, Gary. Well, I'm not sure Stefan. I think Stefan is better. He's more logical than most skeptics, but he's still. I think he made, as I say, a lot of mistakes in this video, which is why I felt compelled to make a reply video to him. Edmund Matthews. Yes, he was right. Oh, there's a very, very long discussion here. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Yeah. At this point, it's 6 minutes. He's done a very, very long, detailed kind of a breakdown of the entire video, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that, Edmund. I really do. I'll have a read through this, okay, but I don't have time to reply to it here. Yeah, it's he seems to understand. Some of this is quite good. So at this point in our argument should be inertia, gravity, momentum and friction are all not a problem. If you have zero mass, they're not necessarily physical objects. If you cancel mass, you negate all these problems. Yeah, I mean, this is that's an interesting point. So, and I'll go through the rest of this, I will. But I appreciate you making the comment. Terence Eagle said on UFO Stefan Molyneux. I'm on 55 minutes now. I think what you're dealing with mostly is with skeptics is that the human cannot accept this on an intellectual and emotional level. Even abductees like Whitley Strieber found it hard to accept. Compare it to the 12 disciples at the resurrection. The whole thing changes the way we see the world and our place in it. Mind-boggling. That's true. That's true, Terence. Yeah, and there is. I think this is a stumbling block for skeptics. It's this emotional connection. It's an emotional problem they have of getting over things. 69 Phuket says, I'm pretty sure Victor was someone I subbed to on YouTube a few years back. I recognise his voice. I unsubbed when he went all gospel preaching. The name escapes. Another note, Mr. Thrive and Survive on YouTube has an interesting about the moon landings and WikiLeaks. Retired NASA worker spills the bean. Who's this? Mr. Thrive and Survive. Alright. Can WikiLeaks prove the moon landing hoax? Exposure imminent. I'll have a look at that. Thanks for that, Miss Bowden. Thanks Phuket for that. Anyway, says, great video reply, Ben. The timeline theory is a trick to make us think we're evolving when we have moved backwards as a people. A good example of this is some of the wonders of the world. We don't know how they have been built. Maybe the aliens were never held back. Well, that's an interesting thought. Quite possibly. I mean, the pyramids, there's some people who say the pyramids were built with anti-gravity, so maybe the Egyptians got it from the aliens, as Eric von Daniken suggests. Dazastar. Hi, Daz. It's good to hear from you again. Dazastar says, Stefan makes the typical mistake of being overly intellectual and basically blindsides himself on ufology. Yeah, that's it. I'm getting nearly to the end of this segment. I'll have to change notices again. Right. I think Stefan came unprepared for this. The encounter as I heard it, he really embarrasses himself. Well, I think he would do Dazastar, but I don't think he quite understands that the level of boo-boo he made here, and the way he hashed out this he completely hashed up this complete interview. Unless he watches my video, of course, which I hope he will. I did at it to him on Twitter, so hopefully you will. Doffler, Kevin Water, who really knows? Let's wait. Kevin Wafer, who really knows? Let's wait and see, shall we? I expect this is part of a conversation, and it is. Yes. In fact, Doffler Aspie says, maybe aliens are supporting humankind, maybe they aren't. That's down to speculation at this time until we find out more. Kevin Wafer says, Doffler probably just observing and studying rather than interfering or solving problems for us. It does look that way, Kevin. Doffler size replies, who really knows? Let's wait and see, shall we? Yeah, we can wait and see. Now, Ian Rubenstein says, on UFOs, replying to Stefan Molyneux, Ben, Stefan makes a point here. You'd have to have a sonic boom. Not true, even with today's technology. And there's something from Popular Mechanics here. NASA's low boom supersonic aircraft. How NASA wants to build a supersonic plane without a boom. Well, that's interesting. Thanks, Ian. Yeah. So that's thanks, Ian Rubenstein. Thanks for that information. Knowing Das Ein says, Victor's mistake was having his argument hinged on an appeal to ignorance. Once, over and over, he stated the limits of the human knowledge that couldn't lay the foundations of establishing truth. It stinks of just justificationism, of trying to sell something without showing it to you. That was his problem. What's more, if he's drawing on evidence from encounters with aliens and their technology, he should have presented that instead of trying to prime the pump by arguing from ignorance, which won't impress anyone who has philosophical training. It could be knowing that I often said, I wonder how I would have done if I was put on the spot by Stefan. Stefan Molyneux was very, very good, it seems, at outmanoeuvring people in verbal fencing matches. This is why he'd make a great lawyer, would Stefan. So that, I wonder if I'd have done any better, you know, because I think Victor did not a bad job considering. Brian Noble says I'm going to go to the next. This is the 1 hour to 1 hour 15 point. Notice. Brian Noble. This is on UFO Disclosure 2016 WikiLeaks. Ben, try reading the third explanation. Amazon. Have spoken to Obama as a journalist. Very pleasant guy. All right. So Brian, you were a journalist and you spoke to Obama. Oh, cool. Third explanation. What's that? Is it on Amazon? The third X. Right. Oh, it's a book. Here we are. The third explanation, a book by Brian Noble. Kindle, $12.95, $12.97 for a paperback, $6.50 Kindle. A book about the serious possibility of alien involvement in human origins. The third explanation. Yes, I'll have to. Sounds interesting. Okay, well I'll have a look at that if I get a chance. I will. I'll look at that. Alright. The Occult Duran Duran Part 3 of 3. And this is a video that I haven't had a comment on for ages. It's an old one which I put up in 2012, and I had to take down the first 2 parts. Let's have a look. It was someone who's actually deleted their. Oh no, they haven't deleted their video. I just can't reply because it's in the spam folder, and YouTube won't let me take it out. Okay, but someone called Relax and Think It Through says transvestigation of Duran Duran. There's a YouTube link here. Are Duran Duran really women? Oh my God. An open transgender with a chin implant, and there's a picture of Simon Le Bon. Oh God, really? Oh, Heidi won't like that. Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for the information. I'm sorry I can't reply to your video. Wild Fox said on Stefan Molyneux UFOs. Now, first it was Zero Fox said, I like Stefan, but that interview was incredibly irritating. What am I on? Yeah. He came across as arrogant and disrespectful. Ben, why didn't you phone him? I would love to hear you discuss this with him, Ben. We know. And Wild Fox says maybe because he's arrogant and disrespectful. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind talking to Stefan Molyneux about if he wants to debate UFOs. I'll debate him. But I mean, I sometimes think of some questions I'd like to ask him, and I don't know. I'll think about it. I have written to him a couple of times, and he's not replied. Yeah, but excuse me. You never know. I mean, hopefully he'll have watched this video. I don't know. Rex says, "Thanks, Ben. Another video. I used to watch Stefan's videos, but he's developed a condescending attitude towards people who don't agree with his political and philosophical views. He can be condescending, yes. He does, however, have a brilliant intellectual mind and a masterful array of diction. I can't stand his wife, Christina Papadopoulos. This woman doesn't seem to have a mind of her own. I don't know much about his wife. Actually, I know she was in trouble once for some reason. I don't know. She has some bizarre views on confidential professional ethics. Not my cup of tea. Skeptics look down on ufologists as being a bunch of misfits, naive science fiction dreamers and middle-aged men who still live with their parents. This subject attracts a lot of stigma. Most people are oblivious to the fact that the acronym UFO stands for unidentified flying object. It's not about little green men. It's about seeking the truth. That's what ufology is about. Over the years, police officers, airline pilots, air traffic controllers, high-rank military officers have come forward about their experiences of metallic objects that defy the laws of physics of conventional travel, that can't be identified as man-made craft. That's true, Rex. That's a good summary. And I agree with you about what ufology is for. I really do. Matthew Taylor says on UFOs, reply to Stefan Molyneux. There we go. There's a right. I find him quite obnoxious cock. Sure, as his voice gets under my skin, I could well imagine he's a skeptic. These people are so-called truth movement that have millions of subscribers always seem a bit fishy. He's definitely a good talker, and I agree with some of his views, but he's not someone I find myself watching a lot. He's one of the big false flags, etc. He's not sure if he still thinks everything's a setup, because I've not been bothered about watching his videos. He's a big Trump train guy to me, So Ben, what do you think Trump will do, if anything, about the UFO topic and free energy? I'm sure new boss, same as the old boss. And Riemann says he did say something about releasing now secret tech to the public so we can enjoy it recently. Well, I've done an entire video on the possibility of Trump being the disclosure president, so you might find that interesting, Matthew. And you too, Riemann. Now, there was a thing about Trump releasing stuff that was on, I think it was on Before It's News, on one of these other stupid spoof sites. So I'm not sure how true that is, but I think, unlike, as I said before, people like Duncan Cameron and Stephen Bassett and Grant Cameron, sorry. I mean, I think that the chances of Trump being disclosure president are much higher than those if Hillary Clinton had been one. So I'm pleased that Trump won. For that, if for no other reason. And Matthew Taylor also says here, he reminds me of a skinny David Brent from The Office. He hates this man for giving him examples of UFOs. You can tell from the start he didn't believe in UFOs. He makes out he was interested, etc. But that was when he was a kid, immature, young and stupid. One word, Stefan, is cuck. He's not listening and acts like an arrogant twaddle. I mean, I find, especially more recently, Stefan has, as you said, he's become more belligerent with people. He tends to sort of pick on people. We had this guy called Fritz on his show the other night, and he was really laying into him, and I thought it was unfair. Matthew Shelley says, brain falling out of your head. I get that from people all the time. Oh, that's that skeptic cliche, yeah. Many millions of people have close encounters with UFOs all over the world. Still, skeptics explain it away as stupid shit like Mars and Venus, swamp gas, shooting stars, satellites, etc. I had a close encounter when a UFO stalked us while we were driving home. It followed me home to where I was being dropped off, and it was no higher than 20 feet above my roof, and that was actually witnessed by multiple people. My nose is itching. Multiple people. That's just one of many encounters I've had. All the footage, military, air force, etc. Actually, after that close encounter I had, that was enough for me. It actually made me scared like a little child, and I very rarely had UFO sightings where I had a benevolent, loving feeling. It's mostly been terrifying and dark, unnatural presence you get from these crafts. I'm with the option they are imposters and not much love and light, more dark agendas. Well, Matthew, UFOs and aliens, I mean, the aliens exhibit a wide variety of behaviours. There are some that are very unpleasant, and it's not true they're all love and light. They're not all love and light. They're not all dark either. I mean, some are love and light. You're dealing with lots of different species that have very, very different views on things. But thanks for telling me about that. That's interesting. That's an interesting encounter you had there. Matthew Taylor also says, oh right, here we go. Yeah, John Keel was my favourite researcher into the theory of these beings being more of an interdimensional, paranormal and sometimes demonic, although I'm sure we are as much ETs as the ETs. I'm sure we are a mixture of many things, DNA alterations to suit man in its current environment. If you look at the craniums over long periods of time, the brain capacity actually is getting larger. Are the beings in Peru, Malta and Egypt original star beings, ones with very large heads related to kings and gods? There's lots to still learn. Well, that's true. I mean, I like John Keel. I mean, the Mothman Prophecies is a really, really good book, and the film, the sort of dramatisation is not so good, the one with Richard Gere. But do read the Mothman Prophecies. He's very, very good. Project Trojan Horse, I think, was another of Keel's videos. Sorry, my nose is itching. So yeah, I mean, he's very, very interesting stuff. It doesn't mean that UFOs have no physical presence, because obviously they do, but they're not. They may not be sort of just spacecraft in the sense that we fly down here from other planets. It may be more interesting than that. At least not all of them might not be. UFOs might be a number of different phenomena we've kind of like categorised into a generic form. But thanks for that comment. Matthew Taylor says on the Great Skeptic Debate. I can imagine how will you cope with, I wonder what he's going to say about Colin after watching Molyneux. Skeptics won't review evidence. That's the problem. They think they know everything there is to know. They need to be humble and look into evidence instead of putting blinkers on. The problem they won't go out into the field and look for themselves. They just sit in armchairs dismissing people. It's quite sad because their argument is much more without basis. even if they won't even look for themselves. It's just regressing into madness when people just poo-poo information, evidence, experiences and research. The way of thinking is finished. Well, their way of thinking is finished. Well, that I did tackle Colin over this, and I just said, look, you need to, for our second, I set him some challenges for our second debate, and he actually, he set me some challenges too. Yeah, so Contact Times says, I'll just put in a little thing here, because there's a conversation between Tino and Contact Times. Over the years I've learned it's pure fear when alt types act arrogantly when it comes to the notion that intelligent life exists outside the gravity well of Earth. Same with Stefan. Zero Fox says, Tino, he's very irritating in this discussion. The US government didn't need to spend millions on Project Blue Book. They could have just asked Stefan. Yes. And again, Tino says the fact he keeps saying space aliens, and yeah, he's clueless from the start. Yeah. So those are just replies to what Tino said earlier. Yeah. Funny enough, I met Mark Pilkington actually the other day. Maybe I'll tell you more about that later if I have time. Contact Times said on UFOs, replied to Stefan Molyneux, try reading 6 decades worth of post-1947 contact accounts. Forget contemporary physics dross. Leave him to left versus right political discourse. It's a waste of time responding. This area is not in the 70s anymore, which is where he is trapped, like the Gnostic Earth. Right, so generally, yeah, this is people's notion of people's note of ideas of UFOs. You see, the way Stefan handles it is there's been generally negative comments. No one's happy with the way Stefan handled that interview and that interview with Victor. Right, so Lee Cook says, this is now new video now. Mark Linus at Oxford SITP. Interesting. Mark Linus says, I fell in love with science because I know some people fall in love with abusers. Oh yeah. Well, you see, science. Yeah, I mean, science is a good thing, but how much of what, in terms of climate change, is real science? How much of it is just politically motivated pseudoscience? I think I made that point in the. I did make that point in the video actually when I was reviewing Mark Linus's speech. Gary Robinson says on Mark Linus Oxford SITP. Hi Ben, have you considered entering your videos into the YouTube Content ID system? As far as I know, there are no copyright law that stops you from filming people doing public talks. Therefore, if you wanted to upload clips of the talk like you mentioned in the video, it would be much harder for someone to hit you with a copyright claim or strike it against your account if your videos were in the CID. Now, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. Content ID. Because it's not a copyright issue with Linus. I mean, there's the copyright, Section 58 of the Copyright Act in Britain allows you to film somebody doing a public speech. If they give you, but they have to give you permission, or at least not tell you to stop. At least they have to tell you actively to stop. This is an issue that came up in my Colonel Holt video, as you regular viewers will know, because someone actually did try to take out a copyright violation complaint against me wrongly, and I appealed against it successfully. But anyway, yeah, it's privacy rather than copyright we're looking at here. So I mean, I do actually have the footage. So I'll see what I'm still going to keep the footage. So if there's something I can do with it, I'll do something with it. You know, but some people get arsy. When I come onto my denial review video, I talk about these bloody idiots I met when I had Nick Colostrum in Oxford. Right, Mark Edwardian Lady says that was a very powerful video, Ben. I agree with every word about it. Thank you, and I'll just say you're welcome. You're welcome. I do text replies to some people, EL, because just if it's short, if it's a short comment, I just do quick replies, you know. Okay, Diego Velasquez. This is in the spam folder. Oh no, Trump is New World Order. He's pro-nuclear, pro-GMO, pro-Israel. Who do you think he was responsible? Who do you think he was responsible for 9/11? Who do you think he was responsible for 9/11? I don't know. It was an inside job, Diego. But as for Trump, I've covered the issues with Trump in another video. All right. Or about how trustworthy he is or not trustworthy, as the case may be. And there's some. Oh yes, this Trump is. Yeah, Trump is. Again, this for some reason, Diego posted something that went to the spam folder, and he posted something else that went into the normal published comments. So I don't know what. Maybe it's because it had a link or something. I don't know. J. Lee on Mark Linus Sippy. Come on, Ben. This Mark Linus individual is a fully paid up Zionist shill, a fully paid up Zionist NWO operative. I don't know, Jay. I think he's probably more likely to be a useful idiot. You know, he's probably not aware of what he's doing. It's unlikely. The Aylesbury cyclist, this is someone I've never heard of before, says on Vote Leave, my Vote Leave video from last year. Thank God I'm a paramedic and not a hospital porter. You come across as a nutbag. Another bloody... Oh, you're really... Oh, that's great, isn't it? That's just typical. So, what have I see again? It's rhetoric, it's an insult, there's nothing here, there's no argument here, is there? No argument at all. Mark Linus Sippy, GS Evolved says... Great video, Ben. Great input. I've got to change the thing here. Right, great. But I won't. I'll just probably say thanks very much. Great input. Cheers. I'll say you're welcome, GS. Because there's just no point, no harm in replying with text in these things. Right. This is UFO Disclosure 2016. What about Trump? And I've got like, what's this here? Right. Oh, there's an awful lot here. Oh, he's deleted it. He's deleted the thing. Okay. Oh, this is... Oh, bloody hell. This is this conversation between Paul Armstrong, and whom I know from Facebook, who's a bit of a shit stirrer, and Colin Snuggs of My Skeptic Debate, and there's a couple of other people, Sovereign Forever, and saying not anyone with half a pea of a brain would understand that is not enough, really. And there's someone else with a Russian name. We need to be able to get off fossil fuels, they say. That's true, we need to be able to get off fossil fuels. And Sovereign Forever, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're attacking me, is that me who's got half a pea for a brain? I don't know. But the Russian person, we need to be able to get off fossil fuels. We do, and I've done an entire video about that. I've done several videos about that, actually. Paul Armstrong. Hey, how come she gets personalised responses? Because she's not a knobhead. It's a he, not a she. Well, I'm tempted to put because she's not a knob, because he's not a knobhead. Because he's not... Because he's... Because it's short. Because it's short and easy to reply. I'll just put that. Paul's jealous now. He's not getting personalised responses. Okay. Mark. No, this is Mark Linus again. That's Diego Valequez. Same comment. Ian. Oh, this is the Bigfoot one. Jesus. Oh, here we go. What is it about this particular video that gets people reared up? I gave up on 2 minutes 20. It's madness to sit down and prepare to watch a long video about the British Bigfoot, for fuck's sake. But there was no objectivity, just stating everything as fact, a very worrying sign. And then Red Indians. That brought me to my fucking senses. I'm watching a guy talking about looking for Bigfoot near Oxford. A guy who talks about Red Indians. Bail out and dislike. All after 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Well, then that's, again... You don't know anything about what the video was about then, don't you? If you're not willing to watch the bloody video. Okay, you don't have to watch it. It is a long video, right? This video, 2 hours, 20 minutes long, okay? Fair enough, you don't have time to watch it all. Then don't watch it all. But whatever, you just don't bloody comment like you know what the video's about if you're not going to watch the whole thing. What's wrong with saying Red Indians? I'm not politically correct. I don't say this Native American stuff, alright? Oh, he's commented again. So in 2 minutes 20 seconds, oh, here we go. Ian McFarlane. This is when Clash King said at the start when you spun the camera around, I was expecting a Bigfoot himself. is there a video of one in Britain? And Clash King, sorry, Ian McFarlane, same guy who was insulting me just now, says, no. Well, actually, you know, Ian, there are some, and Clash King, there is some evidence. Although Ian's not interested in that because he gave up watching after 2 minutes 20 seconds. So there's no point showing him Deborah Haswell and what's the evidence she's collected, or Charmaine Fraser and the other people like Neil Arnold and the other people of the British Bigfoot Research Association, because according to this knobhead, there's nothing to research. It is tiring dealing with these people. It is. I know. Right. Planet Frog. Hello, Planet Frog. He puts here, I haven't seen Planet Frog for ages. He puts here, I'll say, hi PF. He's an old friend of mine. HPPADSTNW. I don't know what that stands for. But please do tell me, Planet Frog. Planet Frog is an old friend of mine from the original David Icke forum. Who, yeah, and he, I've not heard him for ages. Not heard of him for so long. Now, My Time 103. This is on my anti-Trump protest video, right? My Time 103 says, I'm 22 minutes in and this guy's just repeating racist. It's just brainwashing. If you don't agree Trump's bad, you're a racist. Is that what the guy's saying? I think he is saying that, actually. Yeah, so My Time 103 says, and again, on Trump, again on my Oxford anti-Trump protest video, 26 minutes. How could you listen to some bloke go on about America and feel you have a right to change what goes on in America? And feel you have a right to change what goes on in America. Go on about America. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry. My Time also says, Ben, how many were there? Looks about 80. I think it was about that, actually. My Time, yes. It was quite a crowd. The crowd grew during the course of the speeches and things like that. They were covering the whole square underneath Carfax Tower. All right. Planet Frog 2. Oh. Right. Ben, in a more comprehensive answer to the issue on abortion, I'm pro-choice. I agree that in an ideal world, no life is terminated before coming to birth. To those who feel it is imperative we allow all births to come to term beyond complications in pregnancy, are all those who are prepared to stand in a pro-life position prepared to cough up the contributions and care for all the children's welfare, education and upbringing for women who do not provide these necessities following through in an unwanted pregnancy? If you are to say yes, then I'm a pro-life position. If you say no, then I have a pro-choice position. Ironically, I feel my position is pro-life while remaining as it appears pro-choice. Well, Planet Frog, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, the big question here is why is it we have a society in which it is okay, for whatever reason, for the process of necessity for a mother to kill her child? I mean, I'd like to be able to say yes to this. And if we can't say yes, then that's the problem, you see. I'm not in favour of jailing women who have abortions, okay? So that's the issue. I mean, I didn't really go into that in as much detail as perhaps I should. This issue, I had to cover it along with many other things. So this is the problem, I think. I'm on the right number of 1 hour 15 to 1 hour 30. Yes, I'm on the right. I'm using the right tag. But it's nice to hear from you again, anyway, Planet Frog. Robert Diggins. Oh my God. Your doppelganger from 11:05 to 11:30 with the Socialist newspaper. Was that a setup? Only seconds after you mentioned it, you gave a curious look and ended the segment just afterwards. Good one. Well, yeah, I mean, I was talking about my doppelganger at the time. There was a couple of people who looked a bit like me. But it wasn't the same as the doppelganger. The actual doppelganger I saw in that area a couple of years ago. I've done an entire video called Doppelganger, in which I actually describe that experience in the same place. I go to the same place. I describe the experience. Now, where are we? Oh yeah, Wild Fox 01 on the Trump protest video. Who says, I know, Ben, we don't see eye to eye on Trump, but the mass demonstration of anti-Trump movement must realise most Americans voted for him. With that said, I don't think political leaders are able to make decisions. Politicians like Trump are there to serve the interests of the establishment. Restricting and bans on Muslims is a small piece of a complex puzzle. Their long-term agenda is to issue identity cards and then eventually surgically implant microchips into people so they can gain control over the citizens. Trump will end up compromising over banning Muslims, so a fairer solution, ID cards, microchipping the population. As a matter of fact, Trump supports the idea and has been quoted saying there should be cards microchipping of the population. He says there'll be a lot of systems beyond databases in response to tracking the movements of immigrants. The technology is out there, Ben, called RFID chips. It stands for, I know what it stands for. Which uses electromagnetic fields to automatically identify an object. Don't be fooled by the Trump administration. Well, Wild Fox, I'm in two minds over this, because I do understand your concerns, and I'm actually wondering if Trump is being sucked into the establishment that he was never a part of before. And I am on my guard for things like this. I mean, if he tries to solve the immigration crisis using these methods, I'll be the first to call him out on it. I will go for him if he does. I promise you that. And I mean, if you watch my videos about my daughter being fingerprinted, where I talk about this in more detail, I've done some articles on HPANWO Voice and the main HPANWO site as well. But thanks for your comment. And you're quite right to bring this up. However, I can't help hoping that this could be one of Trump's tricks. Well, we'll have to see. Jack Parker says, Mr. Porter... Oh wait, where we are. This is on which video is this? Oh, the Oxford anti-Trump protest, yeah. Yeah, I'm on the right. I'm going to change the tag in a minute. Mr. Porter, you seem to be a very wise, conscientious lot, able to think out of the box, but there is a box we are constrained with quite often at birth. The overly dichotomous concept of political parties left-right, each side capable of producing wrong. We're sometimes blinded by appeasement strings. What's that? We need to find middle ground. Possibly extreme left was an office, but clearly what we have is extreme right now in its place. We must see the truth of pragmatism and danger for national stability. It takes courage, but please take a stand for what you know. Jack Parker, you're not Xylomet, are you, by any chance? You sound just like him. But yeah, I mean, I'll bear in mind what you said, and what you're saying here, I think, is pretty similar to what the last commenter said, Wild Fox. I don't want to come across as like a Trump groupie, all right? I'm not on the Trump train like Molyneux is, but I do, for the reasons I've said, I am encouraged by his election to office, and I do think it does represent genuine change. I may be wrong on that. If I'm wrong on that, we'll soon see. Jane Myers says on Oxford anti-Trump protest, have they witnessed hate crimes against Muslims themselves? I suggest they haven't. Instead, they are spouting mainstream propaganda. Do they realise how corrupt Hillary is? Have they looked at the connections to organ harvesting the Clinton Foundation has? Have they seen George Webb? Even the climate change bull is being spouted. These people need to look into these things themselves and learn to think for themselves. We're not going to live in a divided society, so if you don't agree, you're wrong, and we will attack you to enforce our views because you're a racist. What total knob jockeys. Yeah, I agree. Now, the hate crimes, I mean, if I heard of any hate crime being carried out, I'd be against anyone. I'd be the first to oppose it completely. However, at the moment, what the situation we're kind of in right now is that for white people like me, especially white men, white heterosexual men, our very existence is a hate crime against non-white people and homosexual people and women. And this is the way the left has gone. It's descended into this social justice mentality, which is, I think, which is what inspires a lot of these people here. And the climate change thing, again, point taken on that. I agree. And they are knob jockeys, but I mean, they were quite nice people. I mean, this is the thing. I don't have a problem with people standing in the middle of the town and peacefully saying what they think. Yeah, let them do it. I mean, the problem comes, I think, with where you get the rioters like at Berkeley, and that's one of many, in the Black Lives Matter rioting and things like that, and that's becoming more and more common as the left feels itself losing grip on power. It's becoming more and more desperate, and it's not hiding itself. It's not hiding its contempt for the white working class anymore. You have people like what's her name, Polly Toynbee, saying, "Oh, Brexit. The country's been destroyed by white van drivers," and other patronising things like that. And even Tony Blair to hell with that bastard. He did a speech just a couple of days ago saying, you know, the British people don't know any better. But he basically said that we just don't know any better. We didn't know the truth, you know. So this is the level they're at now. They're not pretending anymore. They're not hiding their contempt anymore. Jack Parker says on the, I've got to change the tag. One moment. I'm just carefully watching the time. Jack Parker says anti-Trump protest. We must be careful with extraneous discussion. Hillary certainly bill are no more in discussion. What carefully is happening, and why carefully to our country, and the world speaks for itself. I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. I mean, I think you may have, like, you using the text, you were using anticipated text, and perhaps some of these words are not the words you meant to type. I just put it on normal text, I would, in future. But I'm sorry I don't understand you. Chronic Sinners says on Oxford anti-Trump protest, thanks for sharing, great commentary. I'll put here, you're welcome. Okay, just a quick reply there. My nose is still itching. Maybe it's the only thing that stops me from coughing. Oxford anti-Trump protest. Right. Grumpskull. A non-establishment candidate would look like you, Ben, or perhaps your lookalike. Oh. Well, if you sit in that bloke, there's this bloke called Ben Harris Quinney, and he's the chairman of the Bow Group, which is like a conservative think tank, and he's as bald as I am, and he's sort of a bit like Peter Hitchens without the hair. So maybe he'll get to be Prime Minister one day. A new comment, alright. Paul Armstrong. The drunk was the only one there making sense. And me. I'll put and me. Alright, Paul Armstrong, you've had your personalised comment. Are you happy now? Right, Safety Man 46458. Good stuff, top lad. Yeah, thanks. Oh, he's someone I know from Facebook. He's got a different name whenever I recognise his avatar. Reeferman has replied on UFOs, a reply to Stefan Molyneux. Stefan is okay in his own field, but when he comments on other stuff, I haven't caught him saying thought out stuff, I think you mean to say. This is my point. I think he knows a lot about some things, but you know what they say about a little bit of knowledge. Reeferman also says, that was an interesting video. What's this? No, he's deleted that comment. No worries. He says basically, it's an interesting video. It was invisible to our visual spectrum, right? And the defence of Stefan about the device malfunctioning obviously isn't true in my opinion. So I mean, I got a message from that, even though you deleted the comment. Do bear in mind, I do still get notices even when you delete comments, and I will read them out. Reeferman also is a globalist like me when it comes to the flat Earth theory. so Jeffrey, whatever his name is, Jeffrey Hindley. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not convinced by the flat Earth argument. I'm not. Sorry, I'm not. Reeferman says he did say something about releasing now secret tech to the public so we can all enjoy it. I think that's Trump, yeah. I'll look into that in more detail, find out where that came from, because as far as I can tell, it's one of these silly spoof sites. Lee Cook says, oh, this is a conversation between Lee Cook and the other guy. And Jane Meyer said, well said, Jane, says Jay Lee. Yeah, that's where Jane Myers was commenting on my Oxford anti-Trump video. Jack Parker also says on the Oxford anti-Trump protest, a cryptic glimpse into the reality, emperor with no clothes. We have romanticised and fostered in great numbers decadent ways and attire that represents this. As a society, reason for caution. Can parallels also be seen analogously in romanticised war, rash viceroy-like agendas, common denominators erroneous on its face? Are you sure you're not Xylomet? I've got a feeling you are, you know. If you are, you can tell me. You don't have to hide. You don't have to hide, Zygomet. It's all right. And he carries on. This is another by Jack Parker. This absolutely essential knowledge, possible where we need to look for rectification. Steadfast kindness carries great power. Terrorists can be addressed directly. Through research, I've discovered key for deprogramming. It is a different war you must take on the head. Status quo, vindictive posture, ineffective. I've discovered great inroads to success. Human nature is real and reachable. Well, I hope so. I hope so, Zygomet. I really do. Jack Parker says, it's more about Jack Parker. Okay. In regards to our fears of world terrorist groups, must the media... It's quite a long comment, this. To deprogram is common denominator flaw. Maybe best go to that video, Oxford anti-Trump protest, and check out Jack's remarks and comments. I'm sorry, Jack, but there's a lot. There's an awful lot here you've written. Now, Doffler has put loads of stuff on that video, the Oxford anti-Trump protest video, that have gone straight to the spam folder for some reason. I don't know why that is. And more Jack Parker. Sorry, Jack. I'm fascinated by what you have to say, but I've got to press on. I'm very sorry. Yeah, right, here we go. This is a shorter comment by Jack Parker. Mr. Porter, you must reach other media groups with this combined agenda to calm the waters with an overt dialogue. World terrorist groups. The crux of the problem are security concerns. There are exponential possibility. Well, I think taking false flag terrorism into account is an important part of that. I think, Jack, or Zygomet, whoever you are. GS Evolved says on Oxford anti-Trump protest. It was the opposing parties' left-wing policies that created Trump. These policies divided the nation over the last 8 to 12 years, not Trump. Great input once again, Ben. Keep on fighting the good fight. Thanks, thanks, GS. And yeah, it was. I mean, in a sense, people say it's a white lash. This thing about Trump. It's a finger raised to the establishment, and it is. But I mean, it's more than that. It's not just ignorant people. As Richard Dawkins actually tried to patronise people who voted Leave in the Brexit referendum. He says, you know, it's so you know, and as Tony Blair tried to do the other day. So it's not that. People do know what they're doing. This was a genuine, excuse me, well thought out answer to the establishment. Oh. Okay, right. Now, yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry, Jack Parker's made a few more comments which look very interesting, but I just don't. I'll read through them. Edward Matthews says, "What about the racist Muslims?" Well, Edmund, see, this is the thing. They always only ever direct this against white people. They only ever direct this charge of racism against white people, and that's unfair. That's one of this balkanisation of ethics things that the left does, which I think is unfair. Muslims actually can be extremely hateful towards non-Muslims, those that have been brainwashed by the Saudi hate preachers that have been brought in deliberately by the government into British mosques. This is the point. I've been through this before. They're creating it deliberately. They're not just letting it happen, they're making it happen. They're using radical Islam as a weapon to start the civil war which they want, so they can then bring in a new and authoritarian version of the European Union, problem, reaction, solution. I've been saying this for years. And it's only now, I think Trump is one of the first people who's actually done anything to try and counter that. Now, UFO disclosure, what about Trump? This is a comment by Olivia Olive. Hi Ben, great interview. Was listening to it now. I'll just say thanks, Olivia. No need to, you know, if it's like a thanks, Olivia. That's a nice, just a quick thank you for the comment. That's all I'll put there. Oh, Walking Case movie. Oh, this is Sandra, and this is on the Trump video, UFO disclosure 2016. What about Trump? Ben, what a great explanation about exo-politicians, etc. Was really good listen. Thank you so much for mentioning my work as well. That was a really nice surprise. Thank you. Hope to work with you one day. Cheers. You're welcome, Sandra. That's Sandra DeRoy of Awakening of 12 Strands, who you heard it in that video. Diego Velasquez says on the Oxford anti-Trump protest, Trump's in final piece in a project of the new American century. He's a new world order, a pro-Zionist fighting Israel's battles. Well, he's not. He's nothing to do with Project for the New American Century. He's also made several contradictory comments about Zionism, which I mentioned in the video, and I've mentioned in my other Trump videos. I'm concerned about his attitude in some ways. He has been hanging around with some people in a Zionist think tank, which leads me to wonder either he has been corrupted or it's another of his tricks. As I said, it's wise not to underestimate Trump. He's very tough, very resourceful. Of course, these things do concern me. Jason Gavania, no, this is just continuing the conversation that he's having on Helen Duncan video. Cynical Syndicalist says on Oxford anti-Trump protest, the Black Bloc are anarchists, not left and right. Just thought I'd point that out. Okay, thanks for the info. Thanks for the info. Okay. The Black Bloc are when you get these people all clad in black together in a great big bunch, and they'll do things like they'll cause all this trouble. They'll smash things like this, and because they're all in black and they're all together, it makes it harder to identify them. And they sometimes rush out like they did to Richard Spencer, that guy. They rushed out and just punched him on the head and ran off. You know, that's the Black Bloc. David Icke's new book, The Full Set. I haven't had a comment on here for ages. This is a video I uploaded in 2011. I love David's books, but they're too big to read on the train. Yeah, I suppose they are. Yeah. Well, it depends. What it depends. If you take I Am Me, I Am Free, which is a little one. Reply to comment 6, Jonathan Plews. Reassuring to hear others into EU and thunderbolts, in my opinion. Most things related to ghosts and UFOs can be explained by these ideas. Have you tried any Linux? Right, I don't agree with you about ghosts and UFOs. If you, Linux, no, I use Windows 7. I might, I will change actually if I need to. I don't want to go to Windows 10 right now. I like operating systems at least 2 back from the current, because you know it's going to work. Oxford anti-Trump protest Dazstar. Hi Daz. Oh yeah, let's everybody in. Change poor areas into ghettos, overrun the UK healthcare system with people who don't care about this country, and build mosques. Don't listen to those cultural Marxists, they are deluded. Well, the truth, Daz, the reason this is happening, it's not about, they're not letting them in, the government are bringing them in deliberately. And as I said, they want the healthcare system overrun, they want mosques built, and the government is funding these mosques and funding Saudi Arabian money into this country to build these mosques. They're doing it, as I said, because they want a civil war. Part of this cultural Marxist agenda is to actually cause the 2 sides to occur in this civil war, where they could just rush in and then they could just the government can then just take over everything, and we'll want them to because of the civil war. So that's why they're doing it. But thanks for the comment, I agree. As Dazstar says here on the same video, at least Trump has stuck to his word. He has so far. I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, people are saying Trump's corrupted, and as I said before, you know, these backslappers who say, Trump's just part of the system, and they don't tell you why they think that, but they just say it anyway. Alex Thorpe says on UFOs a reply to Stefan Molyneux. It's a video that he's deleted, or she. Oh, here it is. Right, this is in the spam folder again, and I can't do anything about that. So I'm sorry, Alex. Oh, it's the one about. Oh, it's the one I've read out before about. He talks about 0-point energy in the Mark McCandlish story. I'm sorry, Alex. I can't reply to your comment. UFO Disclosure 2016 WikiLeaks. I'm going to take a break in a minute. Alright, so I'm getting tired. The Earth is flat, man. Get with the program. No, it's not. It's round. The Earth is not flat. The Earth is round. Oh, blimey. We're still going to be going on this in 10 years' time, aren't we? Right, new video, denial, film review. I'm just going to take a break now. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the camera. Right, okay, I'm back. Start with a new tag. Where are we now? Right. Right, denial, film review. First comment on the video. Right, I'm going to get some stick for this, I tell you. I love listening to your reviews, Ben. This is a very controversial subject. You got some neck on your man. If one can get rid of all the noise, one will come to the conclusion that the Holocaust did in fact occur. Did you say this drama was a BBC production? Yes, it was a BBC production. And as I said, I certainly don't question that there was a Holocaust of some kind or another. That the Nazis did indeed, mistreat and try to kill all the Jews. All I'm doing is saying that this is really a free speech issue more than anything else, and the ability to ask questions without being persecuted. And I think that was the point that I was making here. And Nick Colostrom talks about this in more detail. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, John. That's John Charles Nahundi. So thanks, John. Thanks for your comment. I'm glad you enjoyed the film. Denial film reviewed. This is a conversation. I remember seeing this earlier. Doffler says, Ben, the Jews were gassed by the Nazi bastards. Sure, and then he gets into a debate with someone called Tazi Sakahura. Okay. Sure, I mean and then here we go. Jonathan Pellew says, yeah, it carries on a lot of there's a lot of discussion here. I can't follow it all, but you guys are getting on quite well by yourself in terms of your debates. The Jews were certainly mistreated by the Nazi bastards, Doffler, I quite agree. However, whether gas was used or not will depend on the outcome of this investigation, which was started by Fred Loiter, and of course it has been criticised. But as Nick has said, there needs to be a reinvestigation involving a more sensitive study of the gas chamber itself, what was said to be the gas chamber. That needs to be done, so that because if Loiter's own control specimen, the difference between the delousing chambers and the walls of the gas chamber, if it was not sensitive enough to pick up anything, then there must be a more sensitive test they could do, because there will be some residue on the gas chamber, much less maybe than in the delousing chamber, but still it will still be there. And that needs to be done. And I don't see why people shouldn't ask that question, ask for that kind of test to be done. Paul Gibson says about denial film review, very interesting. You did a great job. Thank you, Ben. I doubt the thumbs down people watched all the video. No, me neither. Thanks, Paul. Because people did quite. I mean, I always get a thumbs down. I mean, there's actually every time I upload a video, it's thumbed down within about a couple of minutes. There were 6 on this particular video. I had 22 ups, but 510 views, 6 downs. But I mean, I know there's someone who has several accounts who always thumbs down my videos. I know who they are as well. Oh, so that's it. Right, Tazikatura, Grumpskull. That voice again by Peter Gabriel. Oh, right, that was... Right, what that was, I asked about this song. I said, there's a song by Peter Gabriel which contains the lyric, I'm hearing right and wrong so clearly, there must be more than this. And I said that lyric actually was almost like that came into my head when I was watching this film, Denial. And it's from a song, I asked what was the song called, and he says, that voice again by Peter Gabriel. I'll just put here, thanks GS. Because I want to know who it was. I hear that voice again. That's it. Yeah, I know. But thanks very much. I just didn't know that. So cheers. Xylomet. Right. Interesting points, Ben. Here we go. Thank you. I feel we need to move away from blanket statements and blanket groupings because it's becoming increasingly clear that the perceived opposing groups display equally the same poisonous tenets, and moreover these boundaries appear quite fluid and contradictory. That's very true. I, for one, have never been covered by blanket statements nor any group. That's cool. I'm glad. I've talked to you before about this. I know you're not white, but you don't fall into the hate whitey kind of mentality, and I respect you for that. Many of the issues raised in this video so well need to take this into account. Okay, point taken, Xylomet. Are you sure you're not Jack Parker? You sound like... Let me know if you're Jack Parker. All right. Adrian Cooper says on Denial Film Review, Irving's reputation as a historian... Well, here's a big conversation here between there's a conversation between Adrian Cooper and Edwardian lady. Irving's reputation as a historian was discredited when, in the course of an unsuccessful libel case, he filed against the American historian Deborah Lipstadt. Well, this is about the film, Adrian. This is the plot of the film. The English court found that Irving was an active Holocaust denier, anti-Semite and racist for his own. Well, no, they came up with one little line in his diary to say he was a racist. This is just a no. Adrian, this is simply you're simply giving a plot synopsis of the story. And he says afterwards, it wasn't, though, was... Oh, now, Edwardian lady says, Adrian Cooper, David Irving's research was impeccable. Adrian Cooper says, it wasn't, though, was it? It was discredited in a court of law, not unless you believe the judicial process and the burden of proof is one big conspiracy theory. No, Adrian. No, it's the way it was portrayed in the film was wrong. Deborah Lipstadt, as I said, was backed up by the Israeli embassy. I mean, it wasn't a David and Goliath thing. And I mean, I do sort of like do question how much of it was real or not. All you've done here, Adrian, is given a synopsis of the official story, the official position of this whole business. You probably just read it on the Wikipedia page. So I'm afraid it is all too simplistic. An Edwardian lady says David Irving's research was impeccable. I think it was certainly very interesting, Edwardian lady. I think it was certainly very professionally done. Let's not forget that apart from this particular issue, David Irving was highly respected. He's got an IQ of about 140. He speaks fluent German. He was the man to go to on the issue of World War II for many years by lots of people. He's the man who uncovered the hoax of Hitler's diaries. He was extremely he was highly respected indeed. Apart from this one issue. So it's only when he started talking about this one particular issue, the Holocaust. Suddenly suddenly he goes from big flavour of the month to a demon. So that's the question I'd like to ask Adrian. You know, this is his whole reputation flipped from positive to negative overnight through this one issue. So you're saying suddenly he's a bad guy, he's an anti-Semite, he's a racist, etc., etc., etc. You know. As I said, 99+% of people who have those slurs hurled at them are innocent of it. So is David Irving going to be one of the 1%? I don't know. Jamie Fairman says, thanks, Ben, for one of the best shows of yours and for being brave enough talking outside the normal. With the invention of the internet, we can all find out the truth just about anything we've been lied to. That's true, Jamie. It really is. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked the video. As I said, there's no potato too hot for HPANWO TV to handle. I know it's controversial, but being controversial is what you have to be in this world. And I mean, I do go into some more controversial subjects in some of my other videos, as you're about to find out, of course, in my video afterwards. Fuck GCHQ says, as a comment that they deleted, which says, stop begging for money, for fuck's sake. Who, me? I didn't beg for money. What are you talking about? Fuck GCHQ says, abolish Judaism, we are Gentiles. Abolish Islam, we are infidels. Now, that's a silly thing to say. That really is. Fuck GCHQ. You know, abolish religions and abolish cultures. No, I don't want to abolish anything, alright? If people can, you know, as I said, Judaism and Zionism are two separate things. Islam can be completely harmless in the right with people who are not brainwashed. It can be completely harmless. I live with 3 Muslims now, and they're lovely guys. Abolish the political class, says fuck GCHQ. We are plebs. That sounds. I think you're an anarchist, aren't you? Are you one of these black bloc anarchists? The Jews are bastards too, says fuck GCHQ. Oh, see, which Jews? You see, you're now going over. This is the real anti-Semitism, all right? People should stop calling me anti-Semitic because I talk about conspiracy theories. If you're saying the Jews are bastards, that's anti-Semitic. Oh, it's Jonathan Plews. All right, this is just okay. Getting there. 69. Fuck it. Or Phuket. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you. I didn't mean to swear at you. Phuket. Guta's video. You sure get out and about these days. I see movies in like modern music In fact, I've not been to the cinema for 15 years. It tells you about my feelings on music too. I listen to 6 music and 5 live movie blog. So I don't know what you mean. Sorry, Phuket. And although they get passionate, I can't bring myself to go and pay to see more indoctrination. All right. Well, I think it's not indoctrination if you can see through it, and if you can see through it, then it's just simply an intellectual exercise to watch it, which is why I did this. Which is why I wanted to see what this film would be like. I noticed immediately there was something, and I looked into it some more, you know. So that was very interesting. That was kind of an interesting thing. Right, I had a comment on Nottinghamshire Roswell 2, which is from 2014. Rebel Rhymes says, "You know the Forestry Commission harvests the pine trees and replants them all the time, lads. Not saying nothing happened here, but the evidence involving freshly planted trees is of no real worth. Plus, forest fires do happen as well." True, Rebel Rhymes, but I mean, there's a lot more than that. I mean, it was just in this one spot that there was nothing there, you see. So I think that was what concerned me. This is what concerned me. This is what concerned Nigel, the guy who first researched the Nottinghamshire Roswell case. But that's nice to have a comment on that one. And Nigel Studwick says on Denial, "Hi Ben, can you say where I can find your talk on the BBC? I looked on Miles Johnson's YouTube channel, but I could not find it." Right, let me just find it for you. There we go. Here we go. It's on Miles's video. If you haven't taken it down, I hope not. Oh, let's have a look. We go back to the Basis project. Here we go. Here we go. Has he still got them? He's still got them up, hasn't he? Those old. I do believe he might have taken them down, which is a great shame if he. Oh, here it is. Right, it's actually called Bases 2016 Day 2 Session 4 Ben Emlyn-Jones. I'll just post you a link. Here you go, Nigel. It's called. It's still there. Miles has still got it on his channel. Okay, so there you go. Right, Rebel Rhymes says on symbolism in Nottinghamshire Part 3. Temple of Solomon, Jewish Freemasonry to be precise. And this is talking about the butter cross in. This is talking about the butter cross in. What am I? Oh, sorry a minute. Sorry, I've got to get the tag again. The butter cross in Bingham, Nottinghamshire. This is actually one of my first videos, actually. What comment failed to post? Oh, what's going on? Right, try again. Comment failed to post. What's the problem? Right. Okay. This is. I actually put this up in February 2009. It's one of my earliest videos. Right. Did Britain start the World Wars? New video. Just up. Latest one I uploaded. Will244 says thought so. I always thought so. Tazis Sakura says me too. Yes. Yes, indeed. Right. Will says on Britain. Did Britain start World Wars? Just getting started out on the video. But it was because Britain was losing global superiority because they controlled the seas, but rails were soon going to open up on continents. The Orient Express was the Berlin to Baghdad railway line that went through Sarajevo. The British Rothschilds were the instigators. That's interesting, yeah, because it's interesting to say that, because that's actually a possibility. I mean, this is something that has been addressed. I think that Robert Newman said in his little video, The History of Oil, that was the case. It was to do with the Berlin to Baghdad railway that sort of really triggered this off, that started the whole thing rolling. And then Stu said, we did declare war on Germany in World War II. Well, that's true. I mean, you see, this is why, Nick, it's important to look at the other side of the story. Gavloff says, did Britain start the World Wars? Pat Buchanan's book, The Unnecessary War, shows how total war could have been avoided. Oh, if only it could have been. I mean, just think how different the world would have been if these horrible wars had not happened. Just think how different it would be. It's unbelievable. And Doffler says, you should call it the Great War. You shouldn't call it the Great War. You should call it the Monstrous Wall. Sounds like something that Donald Trump wants to build. And Fouquet says, I'm sure they were bricking it. Very funny. Jay Lee says, Doffler Aspie, Doffler, you really are an ignorant, unintelligent individual. Brown noses. And Doffler says, oh, all right. There's a bit of a set to between Jay Lee and Doffler, which is I'll leave them to sort it out themselves. And Jamie Fairman says, did Britain start the World Wars? Thanks again for the great videos. I'm sorry there was not a big turnout crowd. Nick is so underrated and at times controversial. As always, keep up the good work. Thanks, Jamie. I will. Yeah, I mean, the crowd was... There was about 6 people there, but they were just, as I said, it just didn't work. They were not very nice people. Well, at least one or two of them weren't. And it was just such a bad setup around the table, like I was explaining in the video. And this is something that... Who's this? Oh, this is Fouquet. Gavrilo Princip, first Patsy. Gavrilo Princip is the guy who sort of shot Archduke Ferdinand, supposedly. And this is he's deleted this comment, but yeah, supposedly the man who started the war. But as Rob shot Archduke Ferdinand, and is that the real cause? As Robert Newman says in The History of Oil, no one is that popular. Good old Archduke. He helped me out. My car broke down. And he's there, he looks after the disabled and things like that. That's just hilarious. Alright, another deleted comment from Nick Lee Cook. Nice one, I'm looking forward to your opinion and what you found in your research into this subject. My personal answer is, this is without watching your video, Ben, would be England didn't start World War One or, and I'm afraid that's all I can read because he's deleted the comment, so I'm not sure. Zylimet Ouchland said, the British establishment idolised Hitler till the point of departure. No one falls out greater than the family. And I say, that's true. X. And Goonlove says so true as well, so that's right. Then Zylimet Outland says, interesting to research the vast amount of people who died in both wars purely from lack of access to food. It's very interesting, especially with recent media events regarding food shortages. Well, that could be so. Zylimet, yeah. I mean, there was apparently the Germans they were drinking engine oil. The Germans towards the end of the war, in the trenches. It was awful. Clausum says, good video, Ben, about that, the World War One. Thanks, Clausum. Thanks very much, Clausen. I hope Clausen comes over to England one day. I get to meet him. Right. Jerry Gary says, more info, check out Professor George Lees. Oh, I've not heard of him. But I've not heard of Professor George Lees, but I'll look into that. Thanks very much for the information. Diego Velasquez says, Mussolini was a British agent and knighted in 1923. Was he? Was he Sir Benito Mussolini? That's interesting to think about that. Didn't know that. And did Britain start world wars? Van Gabon the Ramblin' Rose, great name that, says, with interesting perspective, I think I may buy the book so I can research some of his claims for myself. Certainly both the world wars are sold as very black and white, open and shut, that's true. Germany's fault all the way, and the atrocity propaganda greatly influenced the public opinion in both conflicts. But of course, as we all know, life is very much more grey than that. I remember while studying at school, being a little puzzled that Austria and Sudetenland seemed so welcoming for being annexed, but I wasn't sufficiently mature enough to go anywhere with that at the time. Interesting talk. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time and effort to present it for us. Peace. Thanks, thank you, Van Gabond, and thanks to Nick Colostrom for doing that, for actually being the speaker, so much appreciated. Elite 1980 says, well, what else is new about this island from hell, causing shit in the country and all over the world? Well, you know, I mean, we got our good sides as well, I would say. Nigel Studwick says, one official view was that the persecution of German communities in Poland and Czechoslovakia was so hyped fabrication by the Germans, who propagandised the idea of German women being raped by racially inferior Slavic brutes. I've never seen any evidence it wasn't propaganda. If anyone has evidence that this persecution actually did take place, I'd be interested to see it. Well, there was General Ilya Izabegovich, what's his name? Ilya Sporenberg. What's his name? Ilya, the Red Army commander who actually ordered the troops. There was the order to actually attack and abuse German women. Ilya Ehrenberg, General Ilya Ehrenberg. This was at the end of the war. There's also at Dresden. I mean, no one can deny that firebombing took place. No one can deny the massacre of Danzig took place. I mean, I recommend the book, the Dennis Wise film. Oh, not Dennis Wise. Who was it who made the film? Chris Thomas, I think it was. Someone like that who made a film called Hellstorm, which goes into this in more detail. Vrillon Aura. Oh, good old Vrillon. I've met Vrillon. Yeah, I've met Vrillon. He says, it was an interesting and thought-provoking video. Thanks. I watched the Hellstorm documentary a few years back. I couldn't kind of accept it back then. Nick gave some interesting factual information that made me easier to see it from different points of view. My grandfather was in both wars, and my father told me my grandfather joked about blue circle cement. Both sides were using it, he said. They must have done well out of World War I. Seems to make me think maybe these wars were planned out by some kind of global elite. I think even the monarchy are involved with it too. Important lessons can be learned here. Present times seem to mirror the same situation as regards the Kaiser not wanting war. It's like Putin and Russia. And the things the EU and America have done, and the tensions in Ukraine, it's like all this same kind of demonisation that was focused on the Germans is now directed at Russia by all Western occult-controlled media, socialist-controlled media. And we could well be heading to another World War I situation again. Well, it could be, Vrillon. In fact, when that guy got shot, he shot the Russian ambassador in Turkey. Do you remember? The security guard, he shot this guy dead in an art gallery, and I thought, that's just like... the political situations were so similar to the Sarajevo shooting of Archduke Ferdinand. Like the trigger that lights it all. And luckily, the Russians responded a lot better than the Austro-Hungarians did back then, 102 years ago, earlier. Singapore says on Britain World Wars, after giving his speeches, Dr. Nick Colostrom goes to a party and plays snooker. Honestly, he didn't, he didn't Singapore. We had a couple of drinks in a nearby pub, and then he went home. He went back to his home in London. UFO disclosure, Obama's last chance. UFO disclosure 2017. So JL644 says, this is getting tiresome. If they won't disclose ETs, why not people just do it for themselves? Come out and just inform everyone. There's a lot of hopeful thinking, no fruition. Well, that's kind of what's being done. That's kind of what ufologists are doing in dealing with contactees and witnesses. People like the BUFOG database, David Hodrian, who runs the BUFOG database, collecting this massive amount of data on UFO sightings. So it is being done. There is a grassroots of ground up upswell of disclosure possibilities too. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Right, so Pegasus has said on Boudica statue, part 1 of 2. Boudica moment. I'm not going to have a Boudica moment. They deleted the comment. But they say Saxons come from the Icenia, which is the Iceni was the tribe that covered most of what's modern Norfolk, and was the tribe which Boudica came from. Iceni, that's it. So this person's deleted all their comments. Pegasus, Iceni. Pegasus, he's KGB. I don't know what you're talking about. This is all on the same video. It's on my Boudica statue video, the first one. That's HPANWO London Truth Tours Part 6. I am being told I was gold and other treasures buried in this monument, so I'm going to tour around with pictures, hopefully. I don't know if you mean... really? I don't know. May says she put it there. There's stuff buried under the lots of statues and monuments around London. Over 1 million Spy Shop's got fucked on the statue by number 7. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Johnny Parker said, "Did Britain start world wars?" It could be. Johnny Parker may actually not be Zylomet, because Zylomet's already commented on this video under his name, Zylomet. Ben, you know the wartime propaganda you mentioned at the start about how Germans supposedly kill babies. They're still teaching it in schools today, mate. It's crazy. I remember being swindled in school around 8 years ago. Control the past, control the present, keep the public ignorant. Keep up the good work, mate. I want to see Dr. Collister in person. He seems a canny guy. Thanks, Johnny. Will do. I didn't realise they're still teaching it in schools today, because, I mean, it's very quickly exposed as a fraud, by which time it's too late because the war was already started. Edwardian lady said, did Britain start the world wars? The poor Germans have been constantly demoralised and brainwashed. That's why they are allowing themselves to be invaded by immigrants. They think they're guilty. It's so sad. Well, it is sad, Edwardian lady. It really is, that the Germans are suffering from this terrible blow to their morale and to their self-esteem, and their sense of national identity has been destroyed. Germany today is a husk of what it used to be. As for allowing themselves to be invaded, as I've said before, I think the invasion is actually a work of Merkel and her government, who they're not allowing immigrants in. They're bringing them in deliberately for the reasons I've talked about before. So yeah, very, very worrying, that. Right. Edwardian lady said, Adrian. Right, I was talking about this is just the debate between Adrian Cooper and Edwardian lady. Porter's poet, Christmas and New Year. Right, here's I'm going to change the tag in a minute. Here's something to look out for in 2017: debunking Larry Warren. All right, I'm not going to comment on this right now, but this person is actually commenting on the issues to do with Larry Warren. I will discuss in a specialised video in the future. Okay, so I will actually be mentioning the whole Larry Warren thing in the future. Okay, but right now it's still not complete. It's still up in the air, and I think I'm doing the right thing. I'm taking the right stance. I'll explain why at the right time. But if you want regular updates, you can go to HPANWO Voice, HPANWO-voice.blogspot.com, where I have actually written a series of articles about Larry. Killington Men in Black, Puppy Lover 17 says nope lol, which is, here we go. All right, this is right, this is in reply to what Beanie Green wrote a few months ago. Is it common for Killingtonites to wear T-shirts with a huge CIA letters on them, topped with a red baseball cap? That's how I was dressed. That's why. All right. This is in Britain. Did Britain start world wars? Everything is a contradiction. Enjoyable, educational. Cheers, Ben. I say you're welcome. You're welcome. Glad you liked it. Okay, so that's a written reply to someone who just says they enjoyed the video. Time to change the tag again. We're almost at the end now. Okay, almost at the end of these comments. Right. Well, slightly shorter than my last comments video. It's gonna end up about 2.5 hours. That's good. Right. It starts at 6. Well, that's Nick's lecture starts at 16 minutes. Yeah. Everything is a contradiction. Also says, hello everybody, Dr. Nick. Yes, he did. He said hello everybody to the people around the table who were there to listen to him. Okay. What's this? I don't know what this is. Oh, it's something from VidMe. I don't know what that's about. Did Britain start the world wars? This is from Rachel SOJ. Put in a little tag there. Thank you for producing this video, Ben. It was very interesting, and thanks to Mr. Collister for giving the talk. Stop the New World Order. Oh, you're welcome, Rachel. In fact, I'll just put here. You're welcome, Rachel. You're welcome, Rachel. Okay, there we go. So just a little tag there, just say thanks for just saying you appreciate the video. I like when people do that. It makes me very nice. Right. This is harassing. Did you shave in the cinema, Ben? This is on denial. This is on my denial review. Did you shave in the cinema? I forget how many single men watch my videos. Yes. Harafan, you have spotted what is commonly known as a continuity error in filming. Yes, I did. Actually, the scene where I'm walking towards the cinema supposedly before I go and watch the movie was actually shot a few days later. And the reason I did that was because the original footage I filmed, I did originally film myself walking up to the cinema like I did with the Collateral Beauty, but the footage was so terrible. I was really just completely and utterly fed up with it. It was no good, so I decided to reshoot it a few days later. So I went back to town a few days later and reshot it, and my beard had grown a little bit. I should have thought of that and shaved before I went. It's no getting anything past you, is it? You know, you anoraks. Harafan also has asked on my debate video, on the Skeptic debate video, are you gay? No, I'm not gay. Well, just because I split up with my girlfriend doesn't mean I'm gay. I'm not a MGTOW and I'm not gay. Alright? If I was gay, I would just say so, wouldn't I? I mean, I'm not the sort of person who would just say, oh, I'm ashamed to say what I'm really thinking or what I really feel. I'd speak openly about it, and I'm not gay. Now we're coming into the section. These were actually posted. These are comments that were posted after I began making this film. So these are some of the people I've actually what's the word? They've actually seen the various tags I've posted and things like that, and they've maybe added some more. Anyway, knowing Das I says, cool. I think this is in reply simply to me letting him know, or her know, that I'm going to reply to their comment. Edmund Matthews said, oh, don't worry, I always watch the whole thing anyway. Makes it a bit more exciting if you don't know if and when your comment is going to come up. All right. Oh, I'm glad you watched the whole thing, Edmund. I mean, the last one was 3 hours long, so I do appreciate that. But, you know, it's something that some people don't want to do. You know, so some people I just leave them to it. I just put these tags in. But if you enjoy watching these comment reply videos, that's great. You know, I'm glad you find them entertaining. I quite enjoy doing them. I think it's quite good fun. Which is another reason I'm doing that. Right. This is right. Here we go. Right. Ben, this is from Ian McFarlane, the guy who had a go at me on the British Bigfoot video. Ben, I called it as I saw it and apologise for my tone. I can see from your response that you are a decent guy who deserved a more civil comment. I look forward to your reasons video, and perhaps I'll take another look. But it will take a huge leap of faith to even remotely consider there is an unknown cryptid living on our tiny island. Thank you for your response, and apologies for the lack of manners. Well, that's nice of him. I was just up here, appreciate it. If someone apologises to me, that's really nice. I don't hold a grudge. Appreciate it, Ian. Thanks. If you carry on watching the video, you'll see I do provide evidence. I believe I do provide it. I do provide adequate evidence. So that's okay. So if somebody, he's obviously apologised after his little rant earlier on, so I appreciate that. Okay. Oxford anti-Trump protest. Safety, and this is like a reply to the comments thing I did. The comments tag. No problem, Ben. I actually prefer it when you do your visits to places. I remember the ones you did here in Nottinghamshire with Dan and the Eel Pie Island. Right, oh yeah, the Eel Pie Island. Just to let you know, the Eel Pie Island thing, I'm going to have to reshoot that. I had to delete that video. I'm really sorry. But I'm going to redo Eel Pie Island, okay. I'll just put here, thanks, safety man. sorry I had to do Island vid. We'll remake it again soon. I had to remake. You see, I had to delete it. It was because of the issues I had with Heidi and everything. But Heidi and I've made up. I don't have a copy. Although I'll just re-upload it, but I don't have a copy downloaded, so I can't. But I'm going to remake the Open Island video. Right, everything are contradictions. Well, this is on the denial. Saunders can't hide Warren forever. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I don't get that. Oh, this is, I don't know what that's about. But Dofler says, thanks, Ben. Cool Dofler. Come on, that's not bad. Oh, thanks very much, Dofler. Doffler. And that is all the comments. So, well, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. I hope this new timing system works for you. If it doesn't, then let me know. We'll try and find another solution. But I think I'm doing what I can now. I'm doing the best I can. So, fingers crossed you're all right with it. I hope you'll be all right with it. In the meantime, there'll be another comments reply video probably in a few weeks' time when I've uploaded a few more videos. There's plenty more videos. I've got more planned. So I'll do as many as I can. I'm a bit busy though. Like I said, I'm speaking at the High Wycombe Paranormal event on Wednesday. And then I've got a couple more things coming up. I'm going to probe again next month, but I'll hopefully do some filming before then. I'll do some filming on the scene, I do hope. Oh, so thank you very much for watching this comments reply video, the 7th, and I hope to see you again in the comments box on future uploads. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, stop the New World Order.